voice usually will go on you. You are having extra voice issues.
Yeah, I
right?
came in today and it was already. I had already teed up once. I am now throat coat teed up again, and you can hear it. The raspiness is already there.
All right. Well, buckle up because there may just be a time where you're just gone.
It's
you're
just
dead
gone.
to us.
Yeah.
That's what Thursday does to people. Happy Thursday, everybody.
It is the Thursday.
Will Ortner's with us again. Hello, Will Ortner.
What's up?
Wow. Have you ever seen that commercial?
0% chance.
I saw Scream, and it was in Scream. Or no, it was in Scary Movie.
There you go.
With the fake Scream. I know it's a Bud Light commercial.
Wait, have you seen Scream?
Parts of the first one. I saw the one with Hayden
God.
Panettiere in it.
The new one?
No. She was in one before the new one.
Okay. This is what we need to do.
We doing this already?
Yeah, because it's time.
Okay.
Yesterday, young Will Ortner told us he'd never seen Animal House, and he came back with me with hot Kevin Bacon reports.
I went to the youth of multiple states to see if I was wrong on Kevin Bacon, and they claim
multiple states.
Multiple states.
Okay.
They were multiple people from multiple states.
Okay.
And I knew more about Kevin Bacon than most of them did.
See, because of us, we gave you knowledge of the great Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, two thumbs meh, according to the youth of America.
Just stop.
What's interesting about this is that Kevin Bacon is referenced in like every Guardians of the Galaxy movie. That's probably their only reference point.
Maybe. Yeah. Or those Hyundai commercials with his daughter.
The great Kevin Bacon.
Where they're just like, who's that actor with the plasticky face? That's Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Let me tell you, he's sizzling on the screen. You told us yesterday you'd never seen Animal House. And so when you shared that little tidbit of information about, I did not know it crossed multiple states, which means he talked to his friends in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I also talked to people in Salem.
That's at the same state.
Multiple states.
This is a federal case now. It's crossing state
Salem
lines.
is Oregon. Vancouver is Washington.
Okay.
Those are multiple states.
Okay, 2 states. Yeah, we've
Multiple states.
2 different states.
Multiple people.
Yeah.
Men and women.
Okay. So Will emptied out his Rolodex, which is 3 people.
4. I found a fourth.
You got a 4th. Okay.
Male and female.
Not big on Kevin Bacon, which is actually understandable when you take into consideration the fact that your parents. Wait, how old were your parents when they had young Will Ortner in '97?
They're my age, I think. So I think one was 26, one was 27.
Okay.
Maybe 26, 25, something like that.
All right, so their formative years were actually in Kevin Bacon's heyday, the 80s. Like they should have primed you for Kevin Bacon movies.
I watched like 16 Candles.
So you were a big John Hughes house then?
No, that was like when I was sick and had to stay home from school. That was like my mom's way of educating me.
Yeah, okay. So you watched a lot of the Brat Pack movies then? Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, those sorts of movies?
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw Pretty in Pink, but like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, if
All
that's
right.
in there.
But so your parents maybe missed the generation before, like the 70s movies, like in Animal House. In Blazing Saddles, have you seen Blazing Saddles?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Young Frankenstein?
Ooh, Young Frankenstein's a great one.
No.
Mel Brooks films? No.
We're just going to go down the
How
list.
about
of Mel Brooks.
Spaceballs? Have you seen
yeah.
I have seen Spaceballs.
You have seen
Wow.
Spaceballs?
I've seen Spaceballs, yeah.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Well,
so you
dude, I
have
mean,
seen
come on.
Spaceballs.
I was a middle schooler, and at Blockbuster, they had a video that literally said Spaceballs. I had to go check that out.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I feel like we need to compile a list of classic comedy movies that Will Ortner has not seen.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I'm aware.
Okay.
So Mel Brooks catalog, everything but Spaceballs.
See, but here's my issue with the old comedies, though. I'm not going to get them.
Yeah,
brother, if you don't get Robin Hood Men in Tights, you were lost.
Okay, so, but for me, like a lot of the comedies, like I'm a big Sandler, Will Ferrell, Rogan guy. I like those types of movies.
So all of the people that were inspired by Mel Brooks and Monty Python.
Probably. Well, I'm aware of Monty Python, but I feel like when you watch those movies without the context of when they're from, you miss out on a lot of the jokes.
Do you know the story of Robin Hood?
Yeah.
Yeah. He like stole from the rich, gave to the poor.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
I will tell you, 18-year-old Dave Chappelle is in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Which, by the way, Beekeeper, the new Jason Statham movie, It's Robin Hood.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
That's
Yes.
all he's doing is stealing from rich people
Yes.
and giving it to poor people.
Oh, I'm gonna check
This
that
new
out.
movie, Beekeeper, is Robin
It's a
Hood.
retelling, 100%.
Well, I'm gonna check that out just because it's got Jason Statham, who is greatness.
Which I watched Meg 2 just the other day, so yes.
Meg 2.
Oh yeah.
Megalodon,
Megalodon. Yeah. The giant
big shark.
Yeah, I am aware of
Oh,
Megalodon.
it's so
is.
terrible. It's so great.
All right. Is it as bad as Sharknado?
Better.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Will, have you seen The Princess Bride?
Ooh.
Parts. They showed it in one of my classes one year,
Okay.
and I was
That
sick
tracks.
like one day, so I saw like the beginning of it.
Okay.
That's the Inigo Montoya?
Yeah.
You killed my father or something like that?
Yep. Yes.
Andre the Giant's in it.
She sure is. Okay, so we need to get a classic movies list. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Have you seen it?
No,
Come on.
Mom is anti Jim Carrey, so not a lot of Jim Carrey movies were watched in my house.
Mom Hates Canada.
No, I mean we're kind of Canadian.
You know Dan Marino?
I'm aware.
Okay, he's in that movie.
He's in Ace Ventura. Is it in Miami?
The entire premise of the film is about Dan Marino.
Is it because they're in Miami?
Yes.
Oh,
Caddyshack?
This needs to.
I'm aware.
Ooh. Yeah. We need. Wait. You're aware, or have you seen it?
I'm aware of Caddyshack. I've never seen it. I know like there's a gopher and Bill Murray's running around with the gopher or something like that.
Oh dear God. All right. We need text us the
I've seen
Vancouver
Happy
Ford text
Gilmore.
line 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. Send in classic comedies that Will Ortner needs to see.
You know what? Well, I'll give you one that should be in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
Super Troopers.
Ooh.
Parts.
Good God.
I've seen parts. I've seen the beginning where he like eats all the drugs.
Beer Fest.
Parts.
All right.
I've seen parts of that. I think that was like a Netflix watch in college at some point. I feel
what
like
about-
we should do this, but me with my movies.
Yeah, we can do that too.
I've seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Trading Places.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Is that Freaky Friday?
No,
No.
that's oh my God. It's Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd.
No.
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 Okay.
Team America. Give you a little South Park love.
Again, I've seen parts of it. The parts of it that I've seen are hilarious. Super offensive.
How
That's
about
the point.
Coming to America or Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh my God.
Coming to America, like I kind of watched it on a bus trip once. Kind of.
Text line, perfect. Something about Mary.
No, I still have not. That's one I've talked about. Like I need to go back and see it. Vancouver Ford text line, Dumb and Dumber, one of my all-time favorites.
Okay.
Love Dumb and Dumber.
Wait, I thought you were anti Jim Carrey.
My mom, anti Jim Carrey. My dad, very pro Dumb and Dumber. Watch Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber is one of my favorite movies.
So,
Plus,
like-
it has the great Cam Neely in it. Shout out Portland Winterhawks.
Yeah, it does have the great Seabass. Kick his ass, Seabass. Okay.
Anything with John Candy.
Ooh.
Well, like he's in Home Alone. I've seen Home Alone. He's in Planes, Trains, Automobiles. I've seen
That's
Planes,
true.
Trains, Automobiles.
Great Outdoors.
No, and like I've seen parts of Uncle
Uncle
Buck,
Buck.
but not like a bunch.
Okay. All right. You know, we're gonna get. Hey, we are going to get you.
We have a
to
list
expand
going
your
so
horizons.
long that if you ever scroll
Yeah.
through Netflix or any streaming service again, you should be summarily executed.
Ooh, what about The Big Lebowski?
Parts.
Oh my God, you have to see that movie.
Wayne's World?
I've seen the SNL skits.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Garth, your mom's a babe. Swing.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is why we're doing
This
this.
is hurting me.
This is why we're doing this.
I've seen.
is why we're doing
I've
this.
seen Tommy Boy.
You know what we need to do? This is what I would love. I would, and I think that our listeners would love this too. If we could do like a, and I've pitched this to the great salesman Ryan Cooley before, but I think now we have a gravity towards it.
Our
Is that we
movie
need
night?
to do a fan movie night
Yeah.
where we put together this list, and Will Ortner is forced to go to all of these, and our listeners, we can all go to a movie theater, preferably with like adult beverages or
Yes.
something, and we watch the movie. And then we have Will come up and we chat about the movie afterwards.
Do a little book report?
We do a review after the
Oh.
movie
I'm down to do this.
of what Will took away from it, and the people in the theater, they could heckle him, they could boo or clap. I'll clap for you.
Okay.
You know, good points and things that you took away, things that maybe missed for you.
Do we hand out tomato and lettuce?
No, we don't want to do that. That would be way too much of a cleanup. I'm not cleaning it up, and you know we don't have the expenses to have the
We have
cleanup.
interns.
We do
do
not.
not have
We do
interns.
not.
We can have interns.
We don't.
I'm
we
the
actually
closest
we
thing you-
cannot.
I'm the closest thing you have to an intern. Me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we do this, and how great would it be if we could do like Movies with the Fan, and we put up a poll question: which movie do we watch for Movies with the Fan? And we can have the people may speak on which movies they deem Will Ortner needs to see first.
That'd be fantastic.
I
I'm
think
totally
that this would
down
be
for this.
great. I think Movies with the Fan is a great idea.
Can the first one be The Godfather? Because I'd like to expense that.
Stop.
What?
You need to watch. No, we need to do comedies first.
But I want to watch The Godfather. I just don't have Paramount.
No. We're going to, no, you're missing the point. You said you want to expense it. We're going to do it at a movie theater.
This is a great plan. Let's do a double feature. We'll do a comedy and The Godfather.
Oh my gosh.
No.
The Godfather is supposed to be really good.
Like,
Supposed to be?
That's what I've heard. I want to watch it.
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at your parents.
Yeah.
I'm mad at your parents.
You should be. You
I
should
am.
write a letter to them.
Tommy Boy.
I've seen Tommy Boy.
Okay, good.
Fat guy in a little coat.
Airplane.
No. Not even close.
You ever
Is
been
that
to
the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar one?
Yes. You ever been to a cockpit before?
You ever
can't
seen
say
a grown
that.
man naked?
You want to?
I can say that I have seen that. Unfortunately.
All right. Cheech and Chong. Up in Smoke.
Any,
Up in Smoke.
any of the Cheech and
I'm
Chong.
aware
Okay.
of those. It's like those and like Harold and Kumar. I don't think I've ever fully watched. I might have seen Go to White Castle all the way through.
E.T. the extra testicle.
Never saw it.
Wait. That's a Cheech and Chong reference,
Yes.
but all right, Zoolander. Have you seen Zoolander?
No, I need to.
God.
And that one I will admit that's a miss on my part because that's right up my alley. That's Stiller, that's Farrell, Wilson.
Okay.
That one's on me.
Look, this
Teddy to the Fan and Mystery Science Theater.
that's exactly what it
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it would
Yeah.
be.
I like it.
And I
I
think,
like it.
I think that how people could grow from this is that there's other people out there that are like you, Will.
Other deprived children.
Yeah,
I mean, the
maybe
youth of America.
maybe
the
somebody
youngs?
listening right now is in a work truck with a jackass young coworker who's like, I haven't seen any of these movies either. And they're like,
the guy driving is staring a hole in him right now.
we
Not a
need
jackass.
to grow. Oh yeah, you absolutely are.
No, I'm not.
That's undebatable in this.
No, I'm not.
We need to grow our young people to appreciate the movies of yesteryear. I think that this could be very beneficial for more than just young Will Ortner.
I just want it clear.
This could be a public service.
One of the youngs that I went to
Yeah.
asked who was Kevin Bacon.
Oh, what about Along Came Polly? Have you seen Along Came
Yeah.
Polly? You have? Oh,
White
good.
Chocolate Thunder.
Let it rain, Rain Man. Yeah, we need to do this.
Rain Dance.
Yeah. This is good. Have you seen how about the modern classics like Old School? You've seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We're going streaking.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
streaking.
Okay. All right. We need to do this. And as this texture on the Vancouver Forward text line points out, you need to read The Godfather, Will. Maybe come
would read
playoff time, you and LeBron start The Godfather at the same time. And let's see if you can finish it
Before
in
LeBron?
21 years, because that's how long LeBron's been reading
I
The
guarantee
Godfather.
I could finish that book in probably like a week.
Prove it.
I'm a pretty decent reader. Like, unless it's like big. How big is it?
I've heard your updates. You want to rethink that?
That's pretty rude. That's pretty rude. No, that hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry. You gave me the set, and I just
He just
Wham!
Andre Millered it for you.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. That was
No,
was
you're not.
rude.
You're not.
I am very sorry for that. That was a cheap shot,
It was
and
below
I
the belt.
apologize. I apologize for it, but look, that's what friends are for, right? And this is what I'm here for. Have you seen Encino Man?
Never even heard of it.
Pauly Shore, like where are you at in Pauly Shore's
Anything
catalog?
on Pauly Shore.
I thought Pauly Shore sucked.
Biodome, Son-in-Law, Encino Man.
My understanding of
Wheezing
Pauly
the
Shore was he was
juice.
Garbo. That's what I've heard. He's the short guy, right?
Oh my God.
With like the crazy hair.
Yeah,
Kind of looks like Carrot Top.
I just don't know. What? Back to the Future. Have you seen that?
No,
Oh my God.
none of them.
Okay.
I angered a Doc Brown once though.
Really?
Yeah, one of like the New York like fake ones. Took a picture of his car. He was not happy.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what you just said.
Well, you know, like when people dress up as like Spider-Man or whatever in Times Square.
Sure. Oh,
You have
okay.
to, like,
Gotcha.
pay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. So I just took a picture and the dude yelled at me. And then I turned around and I said, leave me alone. And he followed me for a little bit. It was weird.
Oh, did he get any money out of you?
He almost got a knuckle sandwich out of me.
Ooh. Yeah.
Serving up ducks.
Pack that you reach into your
Don't
pocket.
follow me around,
You
man.
reach into your pocket and you bring out that knuckle Sammy.
Well, he was like, bring your phone out and delete it and let me see you delete it. Like, no, dude, I didn't know. My bad. I apologize. Whatever.
Oh,
Leave me alone.
one thing. Office Space.
I know what it is.
For the love of God.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't
Seems
judge
fiction.
Will. Don't judge Will.
I think we need to have like a theme night, like where we maybe need to do like 2 movies, like do 2 Mel Brooks movies.
Double feature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
It'd be great to do it at a drive-in.
That'd be, well, it means you're coming out to my neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's on
There's
Newburgh.
a drive-in theater in Newburgh?
Yeah.
Dude, it's like the only one.
Dude, it's great. Double
yeah.
features every night.
Yeah.
It's great.
Every night?
No,
We'll do it in summer.
It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to do in, I don't know, winter in
Well,
Oregon.
that's why I
where
asked.
it's raining.
That's why I asked every night. I was
Yeah.
confused.
Every night.
No, it shuts down when the weather gets bad.
All right. Well,
questions.
look, I started this with just like, oh, we'll have like a list of 10. It's 100.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies on
It's
here.
literally the top 100 comedies of all time minus like 3.
We'll get there. It's okay. Again, Will, this is not your fault.
It's your parents' fault.
There we go.
Write them a letter. Feel free.
I will. I will.
They just knew you couldn't be cultured.
I'm cultured. I'm just cultured in my own way. Most of the
Like
youth,
milk.
just know, most of the youth agree with me.
Okay.
And you guys are old.
And this is where, yeah,
And it's
I know.
okay
I'm old.
as you are understanding that you are aging
Wow.
closer to
I
death
am.
every day.
I know. I'm getting closer. Thank you for that reminder. Look, there have been some shots that have been given to everybody here right now.
Well, you
And
hurt my. I'm not gonna lie. You hurt my feelings.
Did I really?
Yeah, and so
Oh,
now it's scorched earth.
so soft. All right. Well,
Whatever.
we got
I'm pushing send on this one.
we got a great show today. We will talk sports and just send these movies in because we need to get the list going. I think we need to do movies with the fan. We need to do movies with the fan. We need to get Will Ortner cultured, and we're going to do a lot of movie watching.
You know what we can do? We can do a
Reporting.
bracket to select the movies.
This sounds like a lot of work, but if you're up for it, you can do it.
I mean, you can see what I can do in a few seconds.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, okay. If you want,
Pause.
we can bracket these things out, and then that's how we can select them, and then we can go into tournament style and do polls and whatnots. You know, okay, yeah, coming out of regions.
Yep.
All right. Look, all of a sudden we just bit off way more than we could chew, but let's do it.
Better start selling, Cooley.
Let's go. All right. Coming up next, this is where the tough part is. Boy, oh boy, that was UGLY. Next on the Fan.
Hello, sports.
Last night was, boy, ugly. 126-97, the Blazers got steamrolled by the Dallas Mavericks.
Indeed. It was not great, Bob. It was one of those situations where I didn't expect them to win. And I said last night before we left here, they're probably not going to win on this road trip. They're beat up. Ant's coming off being sick. DA's banged up. This is the time of year. This is the true dog days post New Year's when guys are typically the most beat up.
Hungover. What?
That too. They're going to be road weary. They're on a 7-game, 15-day trip.
Yeah.
All the nagging stuff, the ankles, the knees, the thumbs. It's this for good and bad teams. This is a tough time of year because this is when you separate yourself, good and bad.
100%.
Because everybody's looking at the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to go to Cancun. I'm going to go to Fiji. Like wherever you're going to go clear your head for a week plus and get warm and recharge and let your body come back. Everybody's looking at that. And in those instances, you can either fall or make your gains taking care of business. And what Dallas did last night was they took care of business. And I want to separate one of two things. The referees had no impact on the win or loss last night. They were atrocious. And I would not be shocked if you see Duop Reese flagrant 2 rescinded.
Yeah.
That is the most insane flagrant 2 I've ever seen.
Just ridiculous.
The entire Dallas bench was laughing. They're like, what? Flagrant 2? Like, I flipped over the Dallas broadcast. The Dallas broadcast is up in arms. Like, I didn't even think it was flagrant.
No, let alone a flagrant 2.
Like, nobody thought it. Like, if you squinted really, really, really hard, like, all right, fine. He caught him solid, flagrant 1. But there were 24 free throws in the first quarter. It was a 48-minute real-time first quarter.
Unbelievable.
So
it took forever.
Yeah, and with that,
it was a college football. I saw your tweet about college football. It was college football-esque.
Yeah, no, it was the halftime Michigan Alabama, and in that period, I watched the entire halftime of an NBA game, entire third quarter, and halfway into the fourth before they came back from halftime. I was like, "Are you kidding me right now? This game is wrapping up. They need a wrap it up box for college football.
Wrap it up." Ooh, by the way, have you seen Half Baked? Will.
No.
Okay.
No.
You can put that on the list.
And basically anything with Chappelle. Okay.
I watched the Blazers last night.
Yeah, there we go. Hey,
that was comedy. Comedy
that was
of errors.
a horror show.
They were down 9-0 to start right out of the gate. The disjointedness, the officiating, made things worse. It exacerbated what was already a problem because this is a team that wants to play free and loose and fast. And when you're getting whistles and the ball's going through the net against you and you're taking it out of bounds over and over and over and over again and you're playing against the set defense and your half-court offense isn't that good to begin with, it makes for a really long night. Also, Luke had 41 and 3/4.
Yeah, they just aren't good either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's mainly why they lost that game. But you're right. Officiating was not fantastic. But look, the Blazers just aren't good. And the dog days are something that I think is really interesting when you're going through a team in a season like this, right? Where it is the rebuild. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. These are the games where you just look between your fingers. And we see it in every sport. Right? Major League Baseball, dog days of summer, right? It's leading up to that All-Star game where you're sitting there, you're going, is this ever going to end? Like we're playing in the heat and we're game 60 of 162. Like this is such a long season. Will it ever end? We see it in the NFL, right? Where you break the season up into quarters. And there is that third quarter of the season is the hardest one to get through when you're getting through November and it starts getting cold and it's just like, is this season ever going to end? Well, we're in that for the NBA right now, right? We're a third of the season. A third of the season is in the rearview mirror.
This middle third is it's the toughest part of the season.
It's hard.
Down.
It's hard to get through.
Stay healthy. Stay focused. The Blazers are going to be on the road,
and it's going to get ugly, man.
Oh yeah, they're not going to win many games here. And this is for all of. Remember when they won a couple games to start the season? They were like, oh, they're going to break the over, and I sat here and said, no, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're going to win 26 to 28 games. And they're 9-24 right now. They are 33 games in the season, more than a third the way into the season.
Yeah.
And they're on pace to win 24 games.
Yeah. Look, I've let everybody know how I've let my son down as a parent, and he's somehow loves the Lakers, right?
Who also suck.
Yeah, they're going through it.
Oh, boy.
Actually, we may need to
In-season
talk about that.
tournament champions.
In-season tournament champs and how Darvin Ham and Anthony Davis are kind of at each other's throats. But the worst part about this right now is that my son is really quick with math for being a first grader, right? And so there was a 3 that was made, and he did the math in his head, and I saw him just going through it, like counting on his fingers really quick, and he goes, "Your team's down by 31. That sucks." And I was like, "Thanks, bud." Like,
Appreciate it.
yeah, thanks for rubbing that one in.
No,
Like,
no.
I want my kid to be bad at math. That's what I'm saying right now.
In those-
At this
in those
point in the
moments,
season,
yeah.
I want him bad at math.
You want him sliding the abacus. I don't know. He just runs out of balls there and just goes, I don't know. It's a
He's
lot.
just sitting there going, "You can't." He's just throwing the salt in the wind. Like, they were down 31 real quick.
And that's the thing is, you don't want that, obviously. And it's not going to be an every night occurrence, but they are lacking depth. They are lacking on the top end, and this is a development period. Scoot was 2 of 11 last night.
Yeah, the only
He had a-
bright spots were Tease and Ish Wainwright.
Yeah.
Ish Wainwright.
Rich came off the bench and knocked down some threes. And it's just all vibes, man. Such a great dude. But you look at this team right now, and look, they started. I know Shaden Sharp is on a minutes restriction, but if you don't think that was a shot across the bow of Scoot starting over Shaden, I don't know what you're watching. Because not last time, but the game before, Shaden went out there and drug his ass around. And
What's going on with that?
I don't know. Look, he's coming off the injury, so I want to give him a little bit of, but there was no juice. None. And if all of a sudden Scoot is starting, let you know what they're looking for. They're looking for the effort. They're looking for the juice. And look, I know this is so hard for Portland. This is the very much the part of, I know you're not ready for this. Ivo Baji picked up 6 fouls last night, had a bunch of turnovers, but you know what he did? He played hard.
Yeah.
And that's why he's going to continue to get opportunities, because that's a guy who's only played basketball for 5 years, and they're more invested in seeing if he can be something for them going forward. That's what this season's about.
Yeah.
It is about trying things, and a lot of those things will fail. But if they fail, you know what they are, and you don't have to worry about them going forward. You don't have to go, well, what if we have something here? Well, if you don't, you move on.
It was brutal last night.
And that's what a lot of this period of the season is going to be, because after the trade deadline, when they probably move off of one of the veterans, then you're really going to be throwing stuff against the wall.
All right, 503-864-6326. That's a Vancouver Ford text line. Hey, Will Ortner, have you seen Friday or Kingpin? Friday or Kingpin?
Not Kingpin. Friday, you're talking about Ice Cube.
Yeah, Chris Tucker.
I've seen 2 of those.
Oh, good.
No.
So Friday and then next Friday?
Yes.
I haven't seen Friday after last or whatever.
I mean, that
Friday
is-
after next.
That's the
no.
next. That one doesn't really matter, anyways.
Isn't there a new Friday coming?
Probably. But I don't think Chris Tucker's in it because he's straight edge now.
Well,
Yeah.
Chris Tucker isn't in the second one either.
No, because he's straight edge.
Yeah.
That's lame.
Got to do what you got to do.
Get that money and get out.
So is Ice Cube now, but he's
Still out there.
gonna
How
go
is
back
he
to-
straight edge?
Well, no, he's not. He just did more family movies like
Yeah.
Are We There Yet?
Was that the one filmed in Newburgh?
Not watching
No
that
idea.
one.
Yeah, one of them was filmed in Newburgh.
No.
Sounds
Weird
about right.
as weird as that is.
It was weird to find out that Ice Cube was a gangster rapper. Like, because I know him from seeing the crappy kid movies.
Oh no.
So, like, in high school, when the NWA movie came out,
Yeah.
it was shocking to learn that he was, like, the big writer for that.
Did
that
you
He was.
Did you know that Ice-T was not on Law and Order to start with?
I mean, that's where I knew him from first, but no, I had classes where would analyze what was it, Cop Killer or whatever that song was. Look, I have a lot of Ice Cube on my phone now. Listen to him when I work out.
There you go.
That'll get you angry. That'll get you angry. All right. Well, now you can do a Sports Center update, Will. last night I noticed something and I was like, this is really smart. The NBA is taking over ABCs on Wednesday nights all through January.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the game wasn't great. It was Knicks Bulls, but they
went big market.
The NBA on network television, a sneaky good move by them.
It is, and it probably came apart is being forced. Remember, we had these strikes all summer long, and this would normally win the
writer's
window.
strike.
Yeah. New shows would be rolling out in the new year.
No. So the ABC just has nothing to air.
They got nothing because
instead of reruns, they're going to go.
Well, they had nothing for the fall, so now your fall inventory is going to become your winter inventory because your winter inventory wasn't even close to being worked on because your fall inventory wasn't touched.
Wow.
So we may see this may be a ripple effect that goes into the summer.
Well, I think it's really good for the NBA to be on more network
to luck into
television.
It for sure,
because the NFL is king because it takes up
all the network slots.
Well, no longer Thursday night because it's on Prime, but Monday Night Football is on ABC. You have Sunday is just dominated on Fox, NBC, and CBS by the NFL. And as much as like we sit there and we're like, well, who doesn't have cable these days? Well, you'd be shocked to know how many people are just watching over the air and either have cut the cord and they're streaming, right? So they either have streaming packages or, there's a lot of people that just don't have cable or can't afford cable because I don't know if anybody's looked at the prices of it. It's insane.
Super expensive.
Right, so getting on Wednesday night, I was like, that's a sneaky good move by the NBA there, but it may have been forced by the network.
They probably lucked into it. There's no doubt about it. I mean, look at the matchup they picked. They didn't go off of, big games. They went off of market size. Look who was playing.
Chicago, New York.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't get Thunder Hawks that was 141-138.
That
game was bonkers.
The Jazz Pistons. Jazz won 154-148 in overtime.
And the Pistons sent it to overtime again and lost. They've done it to the Jazz and they've done it to the Celtics recently.
Yeah, I thought it was I kept note of that. I was like, oh, I saw the commercial. It was like every Wednesday in January, prime time. I was like, that's smart. Do it. But the other thing from the NBA last night is the Lakers with another setback, and you hate to see it. The Lakers losing. That was their third loss in a row. And more pressing than that, it was their eighth loss in the last 10 games. They're 2-8 over the last 10.
And the clutch profile is starting to take over.
The curse of the in-season championship is what it is.
Yeah, that's really what it is. But the clutch of it all. For those that don't know, Shams is clutch. That there's a direct line between the two. So when Shams says
clutch is the sports agency,
yes,
by the way.
And that is the sports agency LeBron James is rep by, but he also has a stake in with Maverick Carter, his longtime friend who grew up alongside him selling jerseys out of the back of a car. Yada, yada, yada.
Yikes.
I'm sorry, not Maverick Carter, Rich Paul.
Rich Paul.
And, well, what ends up happening is whatever coach is in charge in LA is in charge as long as they're listening to LeBron James, or I should say general manager. And what ends up happening is when the general manager disagrees with LeBron James, they leak out things about a coach, and it ultimately leads to them getting fired if they don't get what they want. See, Frank Vogel, who won a title with this team and was summarily pushed out the door because LeBron didn't get his way when he didn't get guys he wanted to come there. Right now, Zach LaVine is on the market. Right now, no one is bidding on Zach LaVine. No one.
Nobody knows.
So the Lakers might actually get him for the poo-poo platter of D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura in a first. But what's happening is Pelinka, the general manager of the Lakers, Rob Pelinka, doesn't want to do it. And so what you're getting is LeBron and Clutch.
I don't blame him.
I don't either, but also Clutch.
Because LeBron could just easily just pack up and say deuces.
Which is going to happen after this year anyways, because his son is going to be in the draft and the Lakers aren't getting him.
So don't do like if you're the Lakers, you go no.
But if they do it, the situation is like, does it give him a chance at a title? Because LeBron is still very good, and what the thing they're missing
is Anthony Davis.
Is offense.
Yeah.
So like that's what they're weighing. But what they're doing is Shams is leaking out there that there's divisions within the locker room and the coaching staff over rotations and blah 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 blah. That's the same everywhere. There's always divisions over that stuff.
And then it was heightened by the public comments from Darvin Ham and Anthony Davis last night after the game, where Ham says we're just banged up, we're injured. Once we get guys back, we'll find that rhythm again. And then Anthony Davis comes up to the podium right after him and says, no, we shouldn't have any excuse for playing as bad as we're playing right now. Like, this is strictly on all of us that are here right now. Like, that heightens all of those fractures that
100%.
you're talking about.
And what they're saying is this is Clutch and LeBron saying, "Give me my guy," or we make this, we rattle the sabers louder. And this is like it's a Cold War.
Interesting.
It's an ongoing Cold War between the Lakers front office and LeBron James and Clutch. And who ends up giving in? It's going to be interesting.
We shall see.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right. Well, you hate to see it.
The other thing that happened last night, there was 10 different teams scoring over 130 points.
Yeah.
5 different teams scored over 140.
This is like 80s basketball now.
This is on crack. It was an NBA record.
Yeah.
5 teams over 140.
Holy crap.
It's never happened before.
Wow.
So
everybody needs to play the Pistons, apparently.
what needs that? We need to have a serious discussion about rule changes. It needs to happen. Everybody, the NBA thinks that this is that because everybody has short attention spans, we need more offense, we need more dunks, we need more threes. Blah, blah, blah. No, you need your game to be good. Right now, the game is not good. It is not in a good place. They are reacting to the dumbing down of youth as this thing that's like, instead of putting a good product in and teaching and investing and building it up and building the bedrock of teams as opposed to players who eventually age out, see NFL versus NBA.
Right.
They are now in a position where they just cater to the latest fad.
Yikes.
And it's becoming problematic for the game. 158 points is not good basketball.
Yeah, I saw pick and rolls are down too in the NBA.
Yeah,
so the offense is changing and adapting, and the scoring is still going up. The efficiency is through the roof.
Yes. It's matchup hunting.
And I wonder if that's where we see some of Dame's numbers are not nearly as efficient as he has been in the past. Because of
Pick and roll volume's down.
and defending pick and rolls has changed as well. Wow. Interesting. All right, we'll have more NBA coming up a little bit later in the show, as it is Damian Lillard related. But coming up next, a big visit coming up this weekend. One of the top portal prospects next on The Fan. window that closed yesterday for anybody from Oregon State to enter the portal. And there is also a 5-day window for everybody who played on New Year's Day or in the college football playoff. Once your season ends, they extend that portal window out to you. So there's going to be times where there could be a couple guys that enter the portal from anybody that played on New Year's Day. But you're also going to get these wave of guys that are coming back. And today, Oregon got really good news in that Jeffrey Bassa, the defensive MVP for the Fiesta Bowl, he announced that he's going to be returning for another year, which isn't a surprise, as is Tez Johnson, who set the single-season receptions record in the Fiesta Bowl win, eclipsing, oddly enough, Troy Franklin, who sat out of that game. For the single-season receptions mark at Oregon, they get two big ones coming back. And that isn't a surprise to anybody. I don't think anybody thought really either of those guys would be NFL guys, but they just made a quick announcement of it. But today we found out that Evan Stewart, the Texas A&M wide receiver, is going to be taking a visit to Oregon this weekend. 5-star receiver out of Texas A&M, who I saw he tweeted out yesterday that he wants somewhere that'll value his physical and mental health, the training staff. That's not a good look.
That's not great.
Not at all.
Seems mildly problematic at best.
But over coming out of high school, class of 2022, he was the number 6 national prospect out of high school, number 1 receiver in the country. And as a portal prospect, according to 24/7 Sports, he is the number 1 wide receiver and the number 2 overall prospect in the transfer portal right now. And he is a twitchy. You think Tez Johnson, think Evan Stewart, and he will have 2 years to play. 2 seasons at A&M, he had, I think it was 91 catches for 1,100 yards in 2 seasons there.
Pretty solid.
Pretty solid. I mean, not eye-popping numbers that came out of him, but not a full slate, a body of work this past season.
I'll tell you what, Texas A&M, they produce receivers that I like.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you look at like last 10, 12 years, how long has Mike Evans been in the league now? 13?
A bajillion, yeah.
12, 13 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Basically, ever since Mike Evans, guys started going, hey, he played there. Let's see if we can get on down there.
They turn dudes out into the NFL.
Yeah, it's a wide receiver mill. If you're picking up guys from there, you're doing pretty good.
He is a small guy though, but he's really twitchy. He can play inside and outside. Depending on where you find him, he is Tez Johnson. Just think of it than that. Regard his stature, maybe a little bit more weight, because I think Tez is he's listed at 160. I bet he's about 150 pounds. But Evan Stewart is 5'10", about $170, but ran a 10.58 100-meter dash in high school. Dude can fly. He is a vertical threat. You pair him with a guy like Dylan Gabriel in a system like Will Steins, alongside the receivers that are coming back for Oregon and the guys that are coming in this recruiting class. I mean, think of the guys that are coming back for the Ducks, where you got Tez, Trayshawn Holden. You can add Gary Bryant Jr., Jurion Dickey, who will be back. Their receiver room is all of a sudden looking a whole lot more deep as this is going on. And Evan Stewart coming in, there's going to be a whole line of suitors for Stewart this year, as he's going to be making those rounds. Or what are you looking at over there?
I just saw that Silas Bolden was another one in the transfer portal.
Yeah, he entered yesterday from Oregon State.
And I was tracking through the Silas Bolden news from Oregon State, and USC popped up, and I went, okay, so I guess another one from Oregon State is going to head down south probably.
Who is the other one?
Mascarenas and
I forgot about that.
And the other DB.
Akili Arnold?
Yes, thank you.
Wow.
So it's just you're seeing the flow of guys there from Oregon State out, but you're also seeing these programs like Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, like the preeminent recruiting programs. We talked about this a bit yesterday. The addition of guys. I said yesterday it was 9 guys from Alabama. Mm-hmm. We looked at in the break how many guys Alabama was bringing in on scholarship, and it was like,
yeah, they're bringing 25 in, and this is where you're at with Oregon. Oregon had brought in 20. I think they're at 27 or 28 right now.
They're one of the highest in the country.
You will see guys that are leaving, and it's not like, and that's the thing is that you don't panic anymore. Like, there is real legitimate cause for concern and panic at Oregon State because when you have Tanner Miller leave too, yesterday a second team all Pac-12 offensive linemen, and then Silas Bolden on the last day that the portal is open for them.
Yeah,
Those
Oregon's
are
at 26, and if you look at like Ohio State, they're at 21, Florida State 22, Tennessee 21.
Well, because they took the caps off of your recruiting class being capped at 24 guys every single year because you do the math on the scholarships with attrition. But so they took that cap off so you can bring more guys in than ever. Well, the guys that are on your roster right now, they got to leave. But the Oregon State, there is real cause for concern because the talent has now left. I mean, a lot of that talent that Jonathan Smith and Trent Bray and company built up, it's now gone. I mean, it is slim pickings for the Beavs right now.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the hard truth about it.
They
And
have
that's
a
a
running
coaching
back
change, and it is a conference up in the air, and you have those questions. This year could get pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
for the Beavs.
you have your offensive line essentially going to the NFL. Your quarterback
or
is
the portal.
Yeah, your quarterback is gone to Michigan State. You do have your running back. Your wide receivers are gone. Your top linebacker is gone after losing your top linebacker the year before at LSU. Your secondary, it's gone. Like, where did Velling go?
Michigan State.
Michigan State. So yeah,
And like the people are saying that, Michigan State in the running for Silas Bolden too. I mean, and I said this when Smith left, and people are like, no way. People were
he rolled up the
furious
carpet and took it with him.
when I said, guys, this roster is going to rally at the beginning. They're going to say that they're cohesive. Reality after a couple of weeks will
When
set
everybody looks
in,
around and they go,
and you go, all right,
Oof, I
this
gotta
is
go.
tough. That's what we've seen at Oregon State. It is played out. Like, this is what happens all the time. Like, it's really hard to be in that situation because you do rally for a common cause for so long. And for some of these guys, 4 or 5 years. And then you take a look around and you're like, everything that I rallied for, everybody I rallied with,
is gone.
they're gone. What am I doing? And that
you
is
almost
a
look
really hard thing to go through.
You almost look at this as Oregon State may need to become, because JUCOs aren't really a thing anymore with the way the transfer portals are working. You're seeing
It's different.
It's not. You don't go to Butte. You don't go to what's the one in Kansas.
Well, there's a lot. Hutchinson is a good one.
But
Baker's really
you
good.
don't go to those anymore. You go to smaller colleges and then work your way up.
Yeah.
That's the new JUCO pattern. It's so Oregon State might need to change and become that. They might need to be the rehab school. Like Malachi Nelson, who was the number 1 recruit in the country, went to USC. He's taking a visit to Boise State.
Yeah.
And you just kind of look at where things are right now. Oregon State might need to toss their hat into like every kind of rehab guy and go, hey, you can come here.
Wouldn't be doing your job if you're not.
You know what I mean? Like you might just have to entirely change how you're going about things.
So are you saying you want them to adapt kind of a John Calipari model? Like what he was doing at Memphis, instead of, like, obviously with what he would do is he'd tell guys, come here for 1 year. I'm going to put you into the NBA. I'm going to give you the best chance to succeed in the NBA. Would you then have Oregon State tell kids, hey, you think you're supposed to be somewhere else higher? Come here. If you want to stay here, you can. We've proven that we can develop. But also, if you want to leave in a year or two and you want to go to a Big Ten team or an SEC team, do you really think that would come off well from a coach at a D1 school? Because I have a hard time believing that would come off well.
You have to sell culture to an extent, right? Like you have in that. I mean, and this is why, like Dennis Erickson, his time at Oregon State, like it burned real hot, but it was short.
Yeah.
And how long does that last?
But
I don't know if you can do it in football because it takes several years to build continuity. I mean, it really does. Especially when on in your fronts, on your offensive line and your
to
defense.
keep things alive, I think this is what they need to do.
Yeah. It's tough. It's an up.
Because right now, their recruiting class is 86 in the country.
Yeah.
They have 1 4-star. They have 15 total commits, and they've had more than 15 hit the portal.
Yeah. Have they?
Yeah.
Boy.
USC has 16 in the portal.
Well, that doesn't mean anything for
But I mean, like when you're talking about like exoduses, like there's big exoduses in the country. Alabama's at 14.
Yeah.
The
The problem with
There's a
Oregon
lot.
State is that it's not necessarily the volume; it's the quality of the player.
Oh
that's in
yeah,
it.
for sure.
I mean that is
All
the
of
big
their
one.
top
It's
end guys are gone, with the exception of Damian Martinez.
You're looking around, going, "Oh boy, that's tough." Trent Bray's got a lot to chew on here. This is a big bite that he took, and I understand and I totally get why he didn't coach the bowl game for this reason, is try to hold on and keep everything together that he possibly could. Don't worry about X's and O's. You need to worry about recruiting your roster, the portal, and the high school commits before you get to anything else. All right, 503-864-6326. That's Vancouver Ford text line. Get some more of your feedback coming up throughout the course of the show. We'll have Ryan Horvat, our BetQL Network insider, joining us at 1:30 today. Our picks for this weekend coming up at 2 o'clock as well. But where we start hour number 2, the NFLPA allowed each player in the NFL to grade their coordinators. Some interesting results next on The Fan.
What's
Views.
What's up, everybody's? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday.
Why do you have to keep rubbing in my face that it's Thursday, not Friday?
I don't know how that's rubbing it in your face.
It's rubbing it in my face.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Classic Dusty, just going out and attacking everybody.
Right?
Just a big bully. That's what Dusty is.
Out here calling everybody a jackass.
Wait a minute.
Creating blasphemous graphics.
I can't create that graphic.
All I
For
know
your
is it came
information.
from an account with your name on it. It's unfound, and I will be contacting lawyers.
Well, hey, I agree, though. You are
Easy there, Jimmy Kimmel.
a very lovable jackass, and I appreciate you for that. Never change, Will.
I don't know how to, even if I could.
Good. You're my boy, Blue. All right. Hour number 2, we start this very great radio program talking some NFL. Week 18 in the NFL. I have a question I want to pose to you guys. We can answer this one later. Of which team in the NFL do you trust the least in a must-win situation? Yeah, how about that? But the NFLPA released the results of a survey that they gave out to all their players. And I found this fascinating because one thing that I actually like that they didn't do was they didn't release who's at the bottom. Although I want to know these answers.
Boo!
I want to know who the answers are. But they said that in the release of this, they said, well, because, we don't want to create a division as some teams are entering the playoffs, which means there are players who were given this survey and
They are on playoff teams who do not like their coordinators.
your job was to rate your coordinators, your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, and your special teams coordinator. And you were supposed to list them from 1 to 10.
You know what? Relevant material here. I sent you a clip of Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel
Yeah.
taking the blame in a way that I don't think most people are aware that coaches can take blame for. In the film session with the Dolphins, he flat out says, I bleeped up.
Yep.
Like, I did not put you in the right position. I called dog-ass plays, and he gives an example. He's like, here they are, cover 0. I didn't put you in the right spot. I gave you a play. It was a fadeaway against cover 0. I shouldn't have done that. And it was like, and you could see the kind of the reaction in the room was like, all right. The rallying behind that, so to speak, even if you did get the crap.
There's a lot of awareness. I know, Will, you can speak to this too, but there's an element of every film session where a coach will go through and he'll be like, yeah, we screwed you on this.
Yeah.
And that is like a little olive branch to when I rip you, just know that I'll take some of this blame myself when I need to, not putting you in a position to succeed. And that does go a long way with your locker room, and it goes a long way with your guys in the film room too.
100%. But there's also a lot of, I put you in the wrong call, but you still bleeped up too.
Make a play.
Like, you go and make me right. I was wrong, but you didn't make me right.
That's the biggest difference in that clip about McDaniels that,
He never does
you
that.
sent is, well, he does that. He'll do that.
Well, no,
But
but in that clip,
what
he
he did
was-
was he put together a reel and a package and was like, here's how I screwed up.
Yep.
Look at this. Look at where I was wrong. What that does, that opens you up to the alleyways where if I'm going to rip myself, I'm going to hold you just as accountable as I'm holding myself.
Because
And I think
let me go and show you all the ways I did you wrong.
Yep.
So that I can tell you all the ways you did me wrong.
Yeah. And I think like you hear guys that have played for the Patriots and like that's one thing Belichick, he holds everybody to the same standard. Doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady or the backup punter, right? Holds everybody. And it's the same in coaches too. Like he'll be like, that was a BS call by us, whatever. But I think that
Belichick's
goes
getting
to
pretty good.
your coaching and your players. It kind of, that's how you succeed is that, look, if they're not going to make the right call and they're going to own it, man, that makes you a heck of a lot better as a player to reception of hard coaching. But the results of this survey, and they said over 1,700 players.
That's a lot.
Yeah, responded to this survey. 864 offensive players, 774 defensive players, and 1,025 players who participate on
that's
special teams as well.
That's almost everyone.
Well, I mean
on
some
an
of the
active
offensive and defensive guys can also participate in the special teams one. That's why they had that number's
Sure.
inflated a
But I
little
mean,
bit.
just in general, like if you look at talking about 1,700 players, that's
That's a big number.
if you divide it by 53, that's 32 point, which means it's representative of the whole league.
The whole league was here. And so when you get a turnout like that, you get some honesty here, and it's all anonymous. So it's done through the NFLPA and through their website. So nobody at the team even got their hands on this, and they released the top 5 offensive, defensive, and special teams coordinators in the league. But some of it is the fascinating part is some of the guys who are highly regarded are on some pretty bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want to see who the bottom 5 are.
That's what I want to know so badly.
Because, like, you see guys like Frank Smith, Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator. He is the number 1 offensive coordinator.
Oh, no way.
Voted on by
The
his
fun
players.
fence?
And the way their team operates,
Yeah.
like, who cares if Mike McDaniel calls the plays? Frank Smith, he's all vibes then. And so everybody loves Frank Smith.
I want to know where the Bears coordinators ranks on this.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Not in the top 5, I can tell you that. Because here's the surprising one is number 2 is Thomas Brown, the Panthers offensive coordinator.
Weird.
Like the Carolina
The
Panthers
worst offense in the league.
who, I mean, they are very difficult to watch. I think that tells you just how much they didn't like Frank Reich.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a
And how
big
much they're
sign right
vibing
there.
with Thomas Brown.
And that Thomas Brown is number 2 is pretty interesting. You want to see some results, but I thought that's it because if you don't like him and your offense is as bad as they are, that is some awareness of the players. Like, we're not very good.
Number 5 is the one that got
And it's
me.
there. Number 3 was Brian Schottenheimer, who's
That's
Cowboys
not a
coordinator.
surprise.
And one thing that I find very interesting is that 1 through 3 are all offensive coordinators on teams where the head coach was calling plays at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Brian Callahan, Bengals offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Makes sense. He's been really good. Number 5 was Kellen Moore,
That's
Chargers.
the one that makes my eyebrows go up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Chargers offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, number 5 on the list. And I wonder if that is just because he's a first-year OC. And look, how many of these guys are first-year offensive coordinators, too, is something to keep in the back of your mind because somebody new, a new voice, it plays a little bit more friendly in year 1, right?
But also, I think that's probably the team looking at that in the sense of the offense put that team in position more nights than they didn't. Now, they choked down the stretch. My God. Herbert's fingers notwithstanding, but they choked down the stretch in every way imaginable.
But it wasn't really offense. It was like, again, their defense
Fell
screwing them
apart.
over.
So it makes you
And
wonder.
injuries with that Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, all those
all
guys.
the wide receivers going down. Sure.
Everybody.
Austin Eckler, the right tackle. And am I missing anybody? Oh, Gerald Everett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got pretty banged up there at the
Damn,
end.
it's been a year.
Uh-huh.
It's been a year.
But again, to my point, there was a lot of like, well, Kellen Moore isn't doing this, and Kellen Moore was an issue in Dallas, and I'm just like, I don't know if Kellen Moore's the problem.
And I don't, but the players did like Kellen Moore in Dallas because he's been through it and he knows. And I think there's a lot of that awareness that you're talking about with Mike McDaniel of Kellen Moore kind of reciprocates that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be hard on you, but I'm going to be hard on me. And of course, guys are going to be like, he's a good dude. He calls good plays too, But I think it's interesting that some of the guys that we consider to be some of the best offensive coordinators in all of football are not on this list of the top 5. Like Brian Johnson, right? Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator at Detroit, where everybody's like, hey, this is the next head coach. Look at what they do offensively. Not in the top 5. That's a head scratcher because Lions players, they participated in the survey because their defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, is number 1.
You know what's interesting is also I didn't see a Patriots offensive coordinator in the top 5.
No, and it shouldn't be Bill O'Brien. Like, my gosh, he's a 1. He's a jerk.
He might have been right about Milroe.
2, they're not good. And he probably tells them every day how bad the offensive line and receivers are. It's probably a very sad.
He probably asked them if they considered changing positions.
Yeah. You want to play receiver, Mac?
Mac, you look like a tight end.
But Steve Wilkes, 49ers DC, comes in at number 2. Remember, he got the raw end of the deal with the Arizona Cardinals head coaching job. He replaces a beloved defensive
And
coordinator,
D'Amico.
D'Amico Ryans, who's now the head coach of the Texans.
So being
and he's number 2.
And being number 2 there is kind of a big deal because D'Amico was beloved.
And then Dan Quinn at number 3. That one makes sense. Look what he's done with Dallas. He's a great defensive
He's
mind.
also always been liked.
Brian Flores, to the chagrin of Miami Dolphins brass, is number 4. Vikings DC.
You know what's this is surprising here is the Browns defensive coordinator.
And then Raheem Morris is at number 5.
Which,
of the
again,
Rams.
not surprising. God, what is his name? Kevin. God, what is the Browns defensive coordinator? I was
Jim Schwartz?
Again, Kevin Stefanski. Yes, Jim Schwartz. I'm surprised Schwartz isn't here. As good as that defense has been, as aggressive as they've been, he's a guy that people are talking about becoming a head coach again. But like
He
you
can
said,
be a red ass.
That is it
and
there.
that's exactly what I was going to get to.
He's just Schwartz is a jerk.
And I wonder how much of that is with the Ben Johnsons and the Bieniemys and guys that are brilliant, but a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah. I mean,
I
agree. I'm looking at this list from Pro Football Focus here. Here is the Pro Football Focus entering 2023 top 5 coordinators in the NFL. How many of them do you think are on this list from the NFLPA where, again, players on their own team rated your coordinators?
So of the 15?
Of the top 5 offensive. And again, Eric Bieniemy not on this list,
2.
surprising to me.
2.
1.
Yeah.
Which one do you think it was?
Smith.
Nope. The only guy on
Callahan?
No, it's Kellen Moore.
Really?
Yeah. The top 5 offensive coordinators entering 2023, according to Pro Football Focus, were Ben Johnson, Kellen Moore, Bill O'Brien, Shane Waldron of the Seahawks, Ken Dorsey of the Buffalo Bills. Ken Dorsey fired.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah. And then Schottenheimer was at 10. So Schotty was at 10.
There's always this disconnect between God, this is going to sound so arrogant. There's always been this disconnect, whether it's NFL, NBA, MLB, where I get a lot of times of, you get former players say something when an analyst says something. Like, perfect example, Rashard Mendenhall, his dumbass, talking about the all white versus all black teams the other day because some white dude.
With him,
I mean, yeah, he's not wrong in that, but like because you didn't play in the league, you're not.
Yeah. So
You
Bill
can't
Belichick cannot speak
on
to
the league.
NFL.
Yeah, and it's like, and there's what players think because there's things that they like because they're good to them, that they take care of them. Like those biases exist.
Yeah.
And you hear about like in the NBA, you hear young players right now talk about how cold Cam Reddish was growing up, and it's like, cool, he could cook your ass in the AAU. He's not been good in the NBA. Like there's an interview with Anthony Edwards circulating from last week where he's like, when they asked him who's the toughest player you played, he's like, oh, Cam Reddish was cold. He gave me 40. It's like, cool, he cooked you in AAU. That doesn't mean that it's relevant here in the NBA. And so you get those, like the way players view things, which I'm not discounting it entirely, but I've always taken it with a grain of salt. I did an impromptu survey of players last year, both home and away, on various things, inspired by the athletic questionnaire on players that they would want to play with as a teammate or players they thought were all-stars that weren't all-stars. And man, that gamut that it ran was a mile wide.
Really?
Of just like what people thought about guys and personal vendettas about, like you hear one player be like, oh yeah, I love player X, but I go to somebody on the same team, ask about that player. I hate that mother, blah, 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 and you're like, oh. And it's just those biases are going to be the same thing that you see with coaches and coordinators, even on the same team. You may have if you talk about the Lions on defense, Aiden Hutchinson may love his coordinator, but maybe CJ Gardner-Johnson doesn't. Like you like there's always these things depending on who you are, what role you play, where you think you should be that impacts all of this. But this list is incredibly interesting.
So on the defensive side, we read you the top 5 defensive coordinators: Aaron Glenn of Detroit, Steve Wilkes of San Francisco, Dan Quinn Dallas, Brian Flores Minnesota, Raheem Morris of the Rams. The Pro Football Focus top defensive coordinators: Steve Belichick, New England; Lou Anarumo, Cincinnati; Vic Fangio, Miami; Dan Quinn, Dallas, at number 4; and then Steve Spagnuolo of Kansas City, number 5.
I'm pushing back.
Only
on
Dan
almost,
Quinn is on that list.
I don't
number 3.
think any of those are ones that I would put in the top 5.
I find it interesting Spagnuolo is not on this list. Kansas City's defense is
He's the
not
one.
the issue.
Yeah,
it's really good. Steve Belichick is a really good. Their defense is not the problem.
I wouldn't say top 5.
Anarumo in Cincinnati. That's coming off of last year where their defense was really stinking good from like the measurables in like the analytics and the standard stats. Like Cincinnati's defense was really good. And they're just taking a step backwards. And Fangio's regarded as one of the best defensive minds in football. Just not a good head coach.
Yeah, okay. It's maybe clouding me on that.
Yeah. But it's fascinating because, look, the Thomas Brown, the Carolina Panthers OC being number 2 as graded by his own players. And then to look at just how all of these guys, with the exception of Aaron Glenn, are relatively new on the defensive side, and Dan Quinn, who's been there for a couple of years now. On the defense side, it's a lot of first-year guys just making their impact, and
that honeymoon
players
period.
love it. Yeah, no doubt about
honeymoon
it.
period, man.
All right, 503-864-6326. That's a Vancouver Ford text line. Not the find we were expecting next on The Fan. drink on a Jags fan at nearing the end of last weekend's game between the Jags and Panthers.
I cannot believe that. What a petulant child. You've seen the video, right?
Yeah, where like they did throw a pick and fan says something, he throws a drink on him, and then just kind of tosses the cup and walks away. It was like, oh,
brother.
Okay. The NFL has decided the fine that David Tepper will receive is 1% of 1% of his net wealth.
It's 0.00001.
Yeah. $300,000 is the equivalent for David Tepper of the average American getting fined $1.75. He's worth $20.6 billion. Yeah. And the $300,000 fine sounds like a very big number, is nothing to that man. I bet you if you asked him, he'd be like, it's worth it. And his statement was bogus anyways. He didn't feel bad for it.
No.
And look,
that man has never felt bad in his life.
What we are learning about David Tepper
is he's terrible.
He's one of the worst owners in sports. Like he's up there.
Yeah.
In the NFL, he's like vaulting up there. He's on the team since 2019. He's going to be hiring his third head coach.
And they got a bad owner out.
Yeah, what? Jerry Richardson?
Yeah.
Jeans Friday?
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the stuff he said, not great.
Yeah.
Turns out being super racist, not helpful.
No.
But Tepper gets in there, and one of the reasons they wanted him is because he is very rich.
Yeah.
He's a guy who could come in singularly, not a group, and buy a team. Because all these leagues, they don't want groups because there's infighting and there's like the unwinding of the assets with the Trailblazers is like it's a very mild thing. The Broncos, the Lakers, remember that when the Bus family, that whole thing, like when you start adding in more and more, like the Fenway group, like all of a sudden now you got maybe and you have infighting and then there's lawyers and then it becomes problematic. And then overseas money starts coming in, which is starting to happen in a lot of sports. It's Washington Commanders. It's still not clear whether or not that money came from Josh Harris entirely and his group, or if there was perhaps some funding from overseas.
No, they cleared that up. The NFL said no.
Oh, did they say no?
Oh, yeah. They shot that down
because the check came through the Federal Reserve, and that comes through on international money.
They didn't. I thought the NFL said that no, we don't. Well, sovereign. They said the
sovereign wealth fund
money.
Yeah,
no sovereign money. So no money from a country came through.
No money from a country. Perhaps done differently, but
I love your tinfoil hat. You just strap that thing on and go.
Look, man, it's happening, and that's the problem. It's becoming so fluid that you don't know where it goes anymore. But Tepper is like, number one, the fine should go to the fan.
Fine. Yes.
The fine should go to the fan.
Pay the fan the money.
Yeah.
Pay the fan the money.
Honestly,
we don't know what the fan said though.
I don't care.
You can't send the money to the fan because then every fan is going to do this to every owner and to every player.
Yeah. Because we don't know what was said.
Unless it doesn't have an ist or an ism at the end of it.
What if he called him Chrome Dome?
Good.
I don't know. As a bald
stupid
guy,
dumb head.
Feelings.
I don't think it does.
It does.
You're bald and beautiful. There, maybe he just said you look like a wiener. You know, like I don't know. Like
you look like a thumb.
He does kind of look like a thumb. That's a good one. He kind of looks like Clippy, but a thumb version of it. Just put some little googly eyes.
He looks like the Spy Kids where they have the thumb people.
That's a
deep cut.
That's a reference I don't get. See, this is
stupid now.
Me.
I'm surprised you didn't get Spy Kids.
Nope. Whizzed right past
Your
Spy
kids are
Kids.
Spy
My kids
Kids
watch
age.
Spy Kids, though.
Yeah.
I still don't understand it. I check right out. But he's a meddling owner. He is vindictive. He's mean to his employees.
He's also
and the
just
people around.
Bad.
And just bad. Overall bad. Yeah, what he does just wants.
Like he's not good. Like it's one thing to be an a-hole. Like you can justify being an a-hole when you're good at it. See, Belichick, Bill.
Yeah, I think if the tapes come out and we find out what was said, if it was just your run of the mill stuff.
Oh, there's a reason
I think Tepper has to buy that guy season tickets.
Yeah,
I think he should. I think that should be the penalty. You know, if it's just if it was
so what
nothing,
he's gonna give him $6 worth of tickets.
Yeah, it's like, dude, if you're a billionaire, like,
did you see Did you see you could get in that building for 43 cents the other day?
Yeah, but this was in Jacksonville. So that's a Jacksonville fan.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
I think you
thought
should
it was
buy
in
them.
Carolina.
I
Okay,
think
yeah.
you should buy them.
Yeah.
Jack's
No,
season
Danny's
tickets.
talking about Carolina.
I thought it was in Carolina. That's my bad.
No, it's
Oh,
in
no, yeah.
Jacksonville.
Okay.
Oh,
That
you're talking
costs
about
more
the
money.
week
Yeah,
prior.
it was
Yeah.
43 cents to get in the building.
Yeah,
Did
that's
you
not-
see the video camera when they went wide?
No.
It looked like the building was closed.
I mean, I was at the Fiesta Bowl though. So
It was insane.
A lot of people disguised as seats.
yeah,
Yeah,
dressed as empty seats,
Oh my
costume day.
I mean, it was like 200 people in the whole building, in a building that holds like what, 65,000,
Big day for the A's.
right? It was, but it was. It's weird. I thought we were getting rid of. I mean, we're never going to get rid of the really bad owners because, particularly when you get that much money, you're typically going to end up being a terrible human being.
Bow show.
There's not a ton of great billionaires.
Like we're great people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got skeletons.
Oh,
If you have
literal skeletons.
if you have earned $1 billion,
I'm gonna tell you right now, you're probably on the Epstein list.
wow.
We played the game the other day.
Like Will's hands are off the board. He is stepping away.
We
He does
played the
not want to
game.
be feel the wrath of Jimmy Kimmel.
Look, I'm telling you right now, we played the game the other day, me and a couple other media folks, of who's on that list from the sports world. When it comes out, oh boy.
By you playing a game.
No, I'm just you start drawing the lines.
I think we're gonna go down that line a lot. You just have your hand on the dump button right now, don't you?
Not so much of a jackass now, am I?
Listen, I know what to
Then you
avoid.
just don't get your finger off that bad boy.
I'm just saying there are very, very solid lines that you can draw without being a tinfoil hat person to know what names are going to be on that list. And it's in the sports world, it's going to be problematic.
Can I say it on the Jimmy Kimmel versus Aaron Rodgers thing? I saw what Aaron Rodgers said live. It was on, and when he said it, I didn't take it the way that Jimmy Kimmel took it.
It was a shot.
No, I took it as Jimmy Kimmel gave Aaron Rodgers a ton of flack for wanting to see the list and insinuated in his monologue that like the list isn't going to be what Aaron Rodgers thinks it's going to be. And Rodgers, I took the shot like when Rodgers said, you know, Jimmy Kimmel doesn't want that list to come out. Not that Kimmel would be on the list, but that he would
Aaron
be
be right.
dead wrong and Aaron would be right. That's how I took it because I think Aaron Rodgers more than anything wants to be correct.
That's very fair. But I took it as the way Jimmy Kimmel took it. I took it very squarely.
I
as a
could
shot.
totally see how Jimmy Kimmel took it, but when I heard it live because I knew what Kimmel had said, I was like, oh, I get it. And then
Kimmel getting all uptight about it. It's like, brother, you invited this on yourself.
yeah.
Then going, there will be lawyers because you didn't like the fact that you made a joke that
Which more
you
power
thought was
to him.
funny.
Yeah.
Aaron came back and look, you went jab, he went uppercut. Deal with it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's so dangerous. McAfee had to put a shirt on.
He had to put sleeves on. He was tap dancing around that whole opening segment. I was like, oh, buddy.
He didn't want that. He didn't want that one going to court with wearing a tank top.
No. I got to go to court. You're going to make me wear long sleeves?
Yeah, when they play that in the courtroom, he wants it. He wants the sleeves all the way down.
With the
He
long
didn't
sleeve
want-
headband on.
because it's on right now, and the rerun is on ESPN right now. He's back to sleeveless
There
today.
you go. A sleeveless hockey jersey at
He
that.
knew.
He cut the sleeves off.
I love that.
That's so cool.
All right, coming up next, we have BetMGM Tonight insider Ryan Horvat. We will take a look at our final week of regular season NFL and look ahead to maybe some playoff odds. But first, here's Big Will Betts, the Sports Center Update. My podcast. For more of Ryan Horvat's analysis, just search BetMGM where you find your podcast. Horvat, how you feeling, buddy?
Feeling a little bit better, guys. I got traveling. I feel like everybody gets sick or is sick. Like here in D.C., I was just talking about this. My wife went to Starbucks today, and they actually had to shut down the entire Starbucks because everybody, somehow all of their employees were sick. So I guess it's just that time of year. Yesterday, couldn't even get out of bed. Today, able to do some stuff, so that's good. I said, as long as I'm okay by the weekend and definitely Monday for the national championship game, then I'm fine with that.
Look, I'm right there with you. I got all through all football season, no sickness, and then I get back from the Fiesta Bowl, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm getting sick. It just sucks. It sucks all the way around. Yeah. But we're glad to have you back. Glad you're powering through. All right, let's get to it. Week 18. This is awful. Like, this is, in my mind, it's the best, worst sports betting weekend that we have because it's our last week of regular season action. But how do you assess who's in, who's out? Because there's quarterbacks that dictate the outcomes of these games in Week 18, but we want to get in on the action. It's a fleeting time of sports betting.
Yeah, so I actually really like Week 18. I know that's kind of like disgusting, but I think there's some ways that you could take advantage, right? So you're going to hear a lot of people that are going to say, okay, you got these teams that are playing bad teams, and all they have to do is win and get in. But I like to fade those teams. So we get a couple examples. We got the Panthers as 5.5-point dogs against the Bucs. I like them. We got the Titans 5.5-point dogs against the Jags. I like them. We got the Cardinals +3 against the Seahawks. I do not like them. And then we got the Bears +3 against the Packers, and I love them. And that's because there's a trend, and I'm not the biggest trend guy, but since 1990, eliminated teams that are, they just need to win over the final 2 weeks of the regular season. 164-4. Whoa. So pretty much these spoiler teams are covering at a 61% clip. For a lot of these teams, like take the Bears, for example, sure, their season's over, but they're a much different team second half of the season. They have a top 10 defense. They have a head coach who's coaching for his life. They have Justin Fields, who's playing for his spot in Chicago next year. And so I think they might pull off the upset against Green Bay. So it always seems so easy just to take a team like the Bucs, the Jags, because if they win, they're in. But I like taking those teams that are playing spoiler because for them, for most of these teams, it's their Super Bowl, it's their last week, and then they head to vacation. And then you mentioned the backup quarterbacks. So I love the Ravens. I can't believe the Ravens are 4-point dogs against the Steelers, you guys. Now, Snoop Huntley is clearly not Lamar Jackson. There's a drop-off there. But Tyler Huntley can play. Like, he should have won a playoff game last year if he doesn't fumble on the end zone. In Baltimore, as underdogs, 20-4 against the spread in their last 24 games as a dog. That includes 20-5 against the spread since 2018. And when Mike Tomlin and Harbaugh meet, the underdog in this game, 23-5-3 against the spread, covering at an 82% clip. So, again, not the biggest trends guy, and I don't like blindly betting stuff, but Ravens, Steelers, I just always take the underdog. And I still think some guys are going to go for the Ravens. Like, Huntley is going to play for Lamar. We get that. You want to keep him healthy. But I think we'll see Odell Beckham Jr. at least for a little bit. And some of the other guys, like, he needs 5 catches for $250,000. He needs 185 yards. Yeah, for $750,000. So that's what I'm looking at this weekend, is like trying to take advantage of a market that might not be paying attention to a whole lot.
All right. We had I would say a less than stellar bowl season until we got to the college football playoff.
Semis, baby.
Yeah, those 2 games ended up being spectacular. What are the news notes, trends that are going to be impacting the national championship game coming out of the college football playoff?
Yeah, so I think Washington's going to be a public dog, and I understand why. It's really tough to bet against them right now, especially if you're catching anything over a field goal. I just think that this is going to be a bad matchup, and I know we said that about Oregon, but I just think Michigan's a different team, and I'm not a Michigan guy. I'm a Notre Dame guy, but I've watched every game this season, and they're boring, but they kind of bore you to death, and that defense is really good. Hate betting against Michael Penix, but if Michigan's able to get some pressure, I think the key trend is Washington has one of the best offensive lines in the country, if not the best offensive line. He's kept clean, on 80% of his dropbacks. But when you do get pressure, if you force him out of the pocket, he's only completing like 48% of his passes. So I think if Michigan could get home, if they blitz a little bit, if they get natural pressure, maybe they could limit him. I still think Washington's going to put some points up. But the reason I like Michigan here is Washington, outside the top 75 in most categories against the run. And that's what Michigan wants to do in this game. I think it's going to be a huge Blake Corum game. We bet his rushing yards at 75.5. I looked this morning, it's already up to 100. I still like that. Blake Corum to score a touchdown in this game is minus 300. To score 2 touchdowns, it's even money. So I took a little bit of that. But I think that's the trend. And that's the way that Michigan wins this game. You get pressure on Penix, and then you run the ball right down their throats. That said, I bet Michigan, but I wouldn't hate to see Washington win this game. I love Kalen DeBoer. I love Penix. I like all 3 of those wide receivers, especially Rome Odunze. Scary team to bet against. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Georgia TCU, but I do think Michigan wins, and then Harbaugh's off to the NFL.
What do we think of in a prop in that game? I saw the Michael Penix Jr. over-under is at 297.5. Dude averages 332 a game, but this is the top pass defense in the country. But then I also look at it and I go, well, nobody passes effectively in the Big Ten outside of Ohio State, and they were a shell of themselves when they played Michigan.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up because I wouldn't bet the under on Michael Penix. Some people are talking about taking Michael Penix unders. I think that's crazy. I mean, again, if he's kept clean, I think he's going to have a monster night. Even if you force him, outside the pocket, you pressure him a little bit, that could be 6-7 throws for Michael Penix, and he's going over this total. I don't think Michigan, even with that pass defense, is going to be able to completely shut down Washington just because they haven't seen a passing attack like this. Okay, they saw Ohio State, but that was with Kyle McCord as their starting quarterback, and he's already out of Ohio State. Their 2 toughest matchups, Ohio State and then Penn State, who's outside the top 100 in every passing explosive category. That's why they fired their OC. So I just think, man, I don't think Michigan's seen a team like Washington yet, so I definitely wouldn't go under on Penix. I would take his overs. So that'd be the only way that I would look with him. And then the other thing I was looking at would be maybe rushing yards for J.J. McCarthy as well as Blake Corum. J.J. McCarthy could use his legs. You saw that a little bit against Alabama. I think we might see some more RPO, quarterback design run stuff. So I would still take overs on Penix. I would still take his touchdown passes, even though I like Michigan in the game, which I guess tells you maybe you like the over in the game as far as the total. I don't see this being a 17-13 type game. I think that this game probably gets into the 50s, probably, maybe even 28-23, something like that, 28-24.
I want to pivot to the NBA and kind of an underlying story that's kind of circulating through a lot of media members, and that is what the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing right now. If you look across the board, the OKC is for a conference winner, they're anywhere between plus 800 and plus 1,000. And I find that to be strange, and I know what you need to do and how you need to be tested and everything like that. What this Thunder team is doing in beating the Nuggets and beating the Celtics and showing that they can beat literally anyone and everyone and run away with those games makes me kind of adjust to this could be a team that kind of does what the Phoenix Suns did and makes a run to the finals without really being tested. Are you buying the value of the Thunder right now in that plus 100 or plus 800 to 1,000 right now for being a conference winner?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 22-1 to win the finals, which I know is a huge ask. 8-1, to win the West. And I don't even hate that bet because of what you just said. We've seen teams do this before, like the Thunder with Russ, KD, Serge, James Harden, all those guys. They did it, and they took game 1 and then obviously got gentlemen swept by the Heat. But I don't think a lot of people saw that young team making that run. And I know in the NBA, it's usually you have to take your bumps and bruises, have a couple years where you fall short. You could go back to the Bulls with Jordan even and LeBron his first couple years having to leave Cleveland. But in the West, I really like the Nuggets still, but do we fully trust them after just 1 year? I don't know about all that. And then you look at the top, and it's Minnesota. The Clippers, obviously, 8-2 in their last 10, playing good basketball. But do we trust Kawhi and Paul George to be healthy for a playoff run? I don't, even though I do have some title futures. So I took a shot with OKC just because, they have Shea, who's now a vet. So they're a young team, but they got Shea, who's been in the league for a while and could give you 30-plus any single night, and he could close out games. And then Chet. Man, I don't think none of us expected this year one from Chet. KP last night in that game against Boston was electric, especially if he had the over. But Porzingis after the game was like, yeah, that guy's the real deal. He's better than I thought, and he should probably be Rookie of the Year. It's unfortunate, the Josh Giddey off the court nonsense is going on because, I really had high hopes for him. Maybe he's most improved player. But I wouldn't be shocked, man, if the Thunder made a run, if Shea was your MVP, and if Chet was your Rookie of the Year, and that's my number one League Pass team. They're my favorite team in the league to watch right now.
No, there's no doubt that's an interesting spot as you talk about the Rookie of the Year there. We're going to have to dive into that after the All-Star break because both Chet and Wemby are running away with it, and it's just a matter of which one you believe in more. All right, buddy. Well, hey, feel better, and we'll catch up with you next week, all right?
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Take care.
No problem, man. That was the host of BetMGM Tonight and Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, Ryan Horvath. Insider calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. Coming up next, our worst day on the web. And you know what? Sometimes you just want to take your stuff back. Danny and Dusty, 10 fan.
With the arrest of a apparently a alleged South Albany high school coach who was stealing stuff from kids and other PE teachers.
Not great, Bob.
Not great.
Not great.
So no, somebody stole a truck.
Yeah, well, it was stealing his own truck back, or attempted to steal his own truck back. Jarrell Miller, big-time boxer.
Okay.
Again, arrested in Florida. Yes, you guessed right.
Yeah.
He has allegedly body slammed a car dealership employee and stole his truck back. So his truck was repoed.
Okay. Wow.
And-
So the dealership wanted their stuff back.
Yeah.
They're like, we want our truck back.
And he said, no. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Truck is mine. Well, now I think by law of the double stamp rule,
You can.
dealership can't have that back.
Yeah. Because he stole it back. But yeah, no, Jarrell Miller sent a female accomplice into the dealership and had her say, again, allegedly, that she left her phone in the vehicle. And when the dealership employee went to go
Retrieve it.
and go out there with it, had the keys, he came in and out of nowhere RKO'd the dealership employee.
Okay.
Took the keys, took the truck, dipped out.
Here's where we get to now. Are we in assault with a deadly weapon because he's a professional fighter? Can't he be charged with assault with a deadly weapon because of
Depends on if they're
his
still
fisticuffs?
registered. Because they run
gun
out of
show?
registration.
or as a boxer?
You only register them for so long.
So here's an actual thing.
I don't know if you're being honest or not.
He's not.
I am.
He's
no,
not.
No, is that not wrong?
It's wrong.
Oh.
So
Well, you're sanctioned in each state, right?
So well, it doesn't matter about that part of it.
Wait. I didn't know if Will was being honest, but Will, did you feel like you have
being honest?
you have to register your hands as a gun?
No, you have to register them as a weapon
As
to be
weapons?
able to box,
box?
in like a professional boxing sense. I thought that after your certificate ran out, they were no longer deadly weapons.
Buddy, that sounds so ridiculous. It might be true.
So no, there's certain training that we used to go through in the military that once you go through it, you can be charged.
Yeah.
If you are in hand-to-hand combat for using lethal weapons, and so we had a commander who would very much instruct us: do not get in fights.
Yeah, so you guys all listened.
No, I mean, just be careful because you may get a judge who does not like you and wants to press that.
Boy.
Yeah, well, you may get a prosecutor that wants to press that because not everybody loves the military. But long story short,
I like Will's idea better.
it is. Listen, on the boxing side of things, you may, but
I wasn't registered.
But I will tell you
I'm on
legally,
Team Will with that.
legally, it's there's not a standing on it because if a prosecutor wants to press those charges based on your training and your level of fitness, they can just go right ahead and do it.
Yeah.
That's the extent that they can push things through. So if you've been trained in, well, you got something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
After doing research, it does sound like you can be held to a higher level of standard if the judge wants to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
It's
thinking.
not like
Yes.
an actual registration.
No, you don't. Mike Tyson didn't register his left hook.
He should.
Well,
He should.
I knew that, but I was under the impression, I thought I'd heard somewhere that when you are registered to fight,
Yeah.
weapons.
When you're not,
When you're not,
no
not
weapons.
weapons.
Okay.
I will tell you, Jarrell Miller
That's
is
like saying-
6'4" and looks to be about 260 pounds.
Yeah, no, that's a weapon.
He's a large man. He's also known as Big Baby, and no, it's not Glenn Davis.
Hey, did he go to prison?
He had a lot of drugs. He was moving a lot of weight,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about his belly.
No.
He was kind of junky.
He
Big-
was. That's why he's
Kind of.
Baby Huey.
I mean, Big Baby was a big old boy, but he'd give you buckets. It looks like Jarrell Miller's been arrested on carjacking and burglary charge, but
That's assault, brother, though. Where's the assault?
I'm trying to find. I saw it earlier where the charges had a line in it about in the carjacking. It was carjacking with without a weapon.
Oh.
Yeah, there it is. He is charged with carjacking without. See, there you go. Without a weapon.
Because he wasn't registered to fight.
And burglary with assault.
There you go.
It is alleged that Mr. Miller
what I
first
bring
put the
to this
victim
show.
in a chokehold, then slammed him to the ground before robbing him. It's robbery because the keys are technically the dealership's. So,
Yikes.
whoops. And the assistant attorney, Eric Linder, said the employee was doing nothing but his job.
I blame Florida for this.
It's always Florida.
It's Florida. That state, man.
I saw this story and I was like, this is real life Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that lately.
And it's always
there's a
Florida.
lot of weird stuff happening.
Do you know that in Grand Theft Auto, the new one, Grand Theft Auto 6, it's coming out next year, that the clip that was revealed, those clips, the staggering majority of them are, number one, real recreations, and number two, from Florida.
Whoa.
Yes. So all of
Really?
like the really sideways things that they're showing. Oh yeah, in the break, I'll show you all of the things that came from Florida.
I also saw that the kid who hacked into those clips.
Yeah, I showed you.
Dude, he's like a super hacker.
He's like a super villain. He has no emotions whatsoever.
Yeah.
They have him. They're going to lock him away permanently.
away from any sort of technology because
Everything.
he had a television and apparently
Amazon
he hacked,
Fire Stick.
yeah, a big screen TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and a remote control for like a video game. Yeah. That's what he used to hack into
into Rockstar Studios
and
servers.
steal all that stuff.
Everything. They had
What a
taken
rock
away.
star.
They had taken
I see
away
what you did there.
his cell phone, his laptops, and they had put him. He was in a hotel room before being transferred, and he's a savant. Quite literally a savant.
Yeah.
He's on the spectrum.
Yeah, they said he's on the autistic
Yes, and
spectrum.
his emotional detachment is so severe with his intelligence that he's essentially a supervillain.
and he shows no remorse.
No remorse
for
whatsoever.
anything.
And it's not because he's evil. He just emotionally he's incapable of doing so.
Yikes.
And with that level of intelligence and that level of sophistication, this is the kind of guy that starts like World War III.
Yeah.
We should be glad that he just hacked Rockstar.
Yes, we're like legitimately. You should be glad.
100%.
It's like Lance Armstrong, the old Bill Burr bit. Like, we should be happy that he was on the bike and just pedaled.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, coming up next, we're gonna make our picks. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
The BetQL 5-star play.
if you're listening on later. How about that?
Hey,
All right, you've been gone,
yeah.
so you're still backtracking. Last
I have
week,
updated.
You
I
have updated. Dun
I
dun
have
dun
updated.
dun dun.
You went crazy last week.
I had my first 5-0 week of the year.
Let's go.
I am out up to 48, 32, and 5 on the season.
Yikes.
Absolutely hammering this season after getting thrown in the blender last year. If you remember last year, there was a period where I went 1-19.
Yeah. Why do you have more games than us, though? I think you have more games than us. I don't know. I'm bad at math.
Russ missed Thursday as well.
Yeah. Well, I think he had his picks in. Didn't he have his picks in? Last week he didn't have his picks in? Oh, I got my picks in later. I went 3-2 last week. I'm struggling. I'm 39, 44, and 2. But that's more games, isn't it? I don't know. I'm bad at math.
I'm at 55.
All right. You know.
Or 55. I'm at 85. No, 2. Yeah, 85. That's right.
Yep, we're all good. We're good. I'm just bad at math.
Yeah.
I'm 39, 44, and 2. Rust is 41,
I'm just
41.
that much further ahead of you. The number looks weird.
You're damn right you are. Jeez.
I was like, no, that's the math's right there. I was looking. I'm pretty certain it is. But this week we do have some important games, and I'm picking a lot of them, but I'm going full coward.
Oh, why?
Because I don't have a lot of faith. I know we just had Horvath on saying maybe don't pick those.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Oh, let's go.
My first pick of the week. I am going Texans -1 at the Colts. I have been riding the Texans against the spread. They've been fantastic this year. They've been one of the best teams in the league, especially when C.J. Stroud is healthy. And C.J. Stroud is healthy. I want to see the Texans get into the playoffs. This is a make-or-break game. Winner gets in. And I'm riding the team with a better quarterback, and C.J. Stroud's going to have a hell of a year.
They absolutely are. I'm going to fade that because I need to make up games now.
Ooh.
I need to make up games. I'm going to go Colts +1. Shane Steichen bump right there. I like the home team in the desperation mode. Young quarterback on the road. Indy's going to be lit. That's all I can hope and pray for. So I'm just trying to make up games right now. Trying to make up games.
I like it.
We have Russ first pick too. Stellars -3.5 at Baltimore.
Oh, I looked at that game, and I know Horvath talked about that one. I'm just staying away from it.
Is that Big Will Betts ding right there? Is that a Big Will? Are these the ones? Are you dinging the ones that you like?
I just wanted to hit the button.
I like. Okay. Well, maybe you
I
should.
haven't even looked.
Big Will Betts hasn't looked yet?
I do my research on Thursday nights while I'm watching Reacher.
Hey, I want you. Oh, Reacher, really good, by the way.
Yeah,
But
super
you know what? You know what got me? I went and I just started binge watching them over the break.
Yeah.
Caught up, and then I was like, "That's not fun." I don't like
funny that you mentioned that
cliffhangers.
because I just
like
started season
cliffhangers.
2 like on Saturday
Dude,
with a long weekend, and I went.
it's really good.
I thought that the season was fully done,
yeah,
and so when I got to episode 5, I was like, "What?"
it's not. Now, are they rolling them out week by week?
Yes.
Is that what they do?
Episodic.
Thursday nights.
Thursday night episodes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You know
Okay.
what? You know what Reacher in the NFL has in common?
Big, huge monsters.
Close. Steroids.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Maybe. Hey, Big Will Betts. You're going to be my celebrity pick. You pick my last game, okay? I want you to do your research right now. I want you to look on the draft.
That means he has no idea where to go with this.
That's 100% what it means. All right? What's your second pick?
My second pick, I'm going Jags -3.5 at the Titans for very much the same reason that I'm picking the Texans. The Jaguars need to show that growth going forward. The Titans are bad,
Yeah.
and they're not doing the full commit to Levis, which I think is bothering Vrabel, to say the least. I think you might see some sparks from that Titans organization here in the offseason, which is very unfortunate because I think they have a bright spot with Levis and Vrabel going forward, but I don't think the front office is entirely on board yet. And with that divisiveness, I'm going to go ahead and take the Jags with the points -3.5 on the road.
All right, my second game, I'm going with the Bill Belichick FU Tour. He's going to stick a double-barrel middle finger up at the Patriots organization if they, in fact, are going to run him out of town. He's
Win one more
not
game.
going to help them get the number 2 pick. He beats the New York Jets. They're starting Trevor Siemian.
God.
I'm going with the Patriots minus 2.5.
I stayed away from the Commanders line because of this. Because as much as I talked about the Cardinals, why are you being so stupid this weekend? I think the Commanders' new ownership is going to be like, if you win this game, I will cut all of you. Because they have an opportunity if things go sideways. If the Bears just say screw it and take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 1, they might have a DC welcome for their guy, Caleb Williams.
Yep, they could.
And if they screw this up, my God.
It'd be gnarly.
You got Rust?
Yeah, I do got Russ. He's got Cleveland at Cincinnati. He's taking the Bengals minus 7.
With Joe Flacco resting.
Flacco resting. He's got Jake Browning for the dub in his second game.
It's a good one. All right, number 3, I am taking the Bills minus 2.5 at the Dolphins. That is a road favorite in Miami.
I wanted to stay away from that one.
I'm picking it because the Bills need it to protect themselves.
Yes, so but the Miami Dolphins, they're in the playoffs.
They are,
that's what you're saying?
yes, and the Bills need this to protect themselves because there is a very, I wouldn't say incredibly likely scenario that they go from being the 2 seed or to out.
Yeah.
But there is a very possible scenario where if they lose this game, they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, if it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot either. I mean,
It's not a big stretch.
It's all very feasible to think, all right, I could see this happening because I believe it is
Pittsburgh, Indianapolis win,
you need
and Titans win.
a Pittsburgh win, a Texans win, a Jags win, and a Dolphins win, and they are out. Out.
That's
Yeah.
again, that is why the Bills need this game more than anything else. I'm gonna go ahead and take everything they got there.
Third game, Russ and I are on the same boat here. We both have the Lions minus 3.5 taking on the Vikings at home. Sour taste in their mouth. Dan Campbell and the boys
Take
get
it out on
this
the
thing,
Vikings.
Get it right, and they win that game in Motor City. Go Motor City Kitties.
Also, the Vikings are throwing out their version of Peterman.
Absolutely, they are. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. For me, game number 4, I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucks one more time, minus 4.5 at the Panthers because the Panthers suck.
Okay.
That's just period, point blank. They suck. They're terrible. They're awful. There's nothing redemptive about that team. And I think picking against them this year, I am 8-1.
Hey.
So yeah, go ahead and give it to me.
All right, my final game, because Big Will Betts has my 5th pick, is I got the Colts. Wait, nope, I already got that one in. I got the Colts +1 against the Texans. So we'll give Jeff Russ the final pick. He has got the Seattle Seahawks minus 2.5 at Arizona. He likes the Hawks battling for a playoff spot. Big Will Betts, what's my last pick?
Your last one, I've got the Bills minus 2.5 against the Dolphins.
Like I said, great pick.
I just feel like in that one, Buffalo knows what it's going to be for. There's a chance if you don't win this game, you're not in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
You have to go out and battle your butt off. Dolphins, they've got a lot of injuries. I wouldn't be shocked too if Tyreek Hill set out this game with everything that's going on there.
This kid setting
Buffalo
his house on
has
fire.
to win. It was an accident.
Little pyro.
It sounds like it was
Playing with a lighter?
It sounds like it was a lighter.
That's a tough one. That's a
cigar
tough
lighter.
situation.
What's the, you know what?
They also didn't say it was his
I
kid
feel like that's a
necessarily.
good one to hit the text line up. What's the worst thing you did as a kid? Save it. Save it. Save
Oh,
it.
huh.
We'll end the show with that one. My last pick,
There was some fire.
Bears +3 at the Packers, ladies and gentlemen. That is a road dog. So I'm going to go, as much as I've picked against the Bears this year, I'm going to trust Horvath on this one. And because there are guys playing for jobs, Fields, Eberflus, basically everybody in that Chicago organization, there might be an added incentive there. And the Packers, they can get in and be okay here, but you need some help.
Okay.
So
They need a little help. You need a little help. All right, those are our picks.
you love them?
No,
No?
I don't love any of them.
No?
No, I just need
not at all?
5-0 to get to 400 or 500 on the year.
Can you get there?
Yeah, 5-0. 5-0 will take me to
Five.
44-2.
Are we done after the regular season? Or are we going to do playoffs too?
Well, we'll do to playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a chance for you to fall back down?
God. Choosing violence today, huh?
That's the answer.
Choosing violence today.
Oh, well. But you're right. Yep. I will choose the spotlight coming up here as All-Star voting. The first round is out. And, well, it shouldn't be a surprise, but yet Damian Lillard is number 2 on that All-Star voting list. Doesn't matter that he's playing a small market and the impact of the in-season tournament. I'll talk about that and more. Come here, Dan and Dusty. Tell you the Fan.
It's the Fan on demand. Service Patriots.
Damian Lillard obviously traded from the Portland Trailblazers to the Milwaukee Bucks leading into the season this year. Damian Lillard's number 2 in voting for guards, which you would expect to change perhaps if he went to Los Angeles or to New York. Milwaukee is a similar, albeit even smaller, market than Portland.
Yeah,
But
it is.
the Milwaukee Bucks have 40 national TV games.
And the Blazers now have one that's already been played.
No, they picked up one.
Oh, they did?
No, they have the one that they had was taken off.
Yeah,
So the
TNT wiped away their
Their Miami Heat
Miami game.
which
of course.
was going to be when Dame potentially came back with the Heat, which, but ESPN has now picked up the Milwaukee Portland game in Portland.
Oh, great.
So there's
That'll
that,
be awesome.
That is their one national TV game this
That'd be
year.
great to
They
see.
have some NBA TV games which are not national. People can say what they want; those are not national TV games. The Milwaukee Bucks, however, have a truckload. Why? Because they have a reigning MVP candidate. They have a reigning title winner. They have a reigning top 15 player of all time on their roster, and they are a title contender this year. So what has happened? The eyes of the world have been opened up to, hey, that Damian Lillard character, pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing when you're paired with the star what that bump will get you.
And not
right?
just paired with the star, but the visibility. And the reason why I say that is number 1 in front of him is not Trae Young. It's not Donovan Mitchell. It's not Tyrese Maxey. It's not LaMelo Ball. It's Tyrese Halliburton
Yeah,
by a substantial margin.
I think his bump in exposure has been huge this year, and that's one thing the in-season tournament
Yep.
has done for him. But I also think that this is a product of Damian Lillard just getting out of the West, where he doesn't have Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, SGA, Harden, Kyrie, Ja. All of those guys are leading in the West.
Yeah, if you look at Dame's
Anthony
total
Edwards,
votes,
too.
Dame's total votes is 955,751. That would put him 4th in the West.
Yep.
Behind Luka, Steph, and SGA.
In that, I mean, one part of it is Portland could never do what Milwaukee is doing for him, which is pair him with a star like
And
that.
be on national TV
And
40 times.
Actually keep that star in town, LaMarcus Aldridge. But had LaMarcus stuck around, then you would have seen the Blazers on national TV a heck of a lot more, right? If Giannis have to come to Portland, the Blazers would have been on national TV a heck of a lot more. This is just a product of he got exactly what he was looking for when he went to the Milwaukee Bucks. If he was in Miami, he would have gotten the same kind of bump too. He got exposure by that restart of just being on TV and being on a contender. And that's why you don't blame a guy for wanting to be on a contender.
No.
And it's not chasing anything. It's, man, he gave a lot of time here in a lot of really good years. This isn't even his best year statistically that he's ever had.
He's taken a legitimate second fiddle, or to quote LaMarcus Aldridge's mom, second banana role.
Yep.
To Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And his averages are down. Like his field goal percentage, his 3-point percentage is down by a couple of percentage points. I mean, he's not having the best year he's ever had yet. Here are the most votes that we've seen him get in the All-Star in this first round of balloting. And it's deserving. I mean, this is kind of what everybody was saying. Damian Lillard should get this kind of respect when he was in Portland. It's good that he's finally getting it. It just kind of sucks that you're sitting there going, he's never going to get that here. He was never going to get that.
Not without bringing a superstar here.
Nope.
And that's what it takes. And even more than that, the Tyrese Halliburton of it all is what really just throws me sideways, because this is what we were talking about earlier. The how the NBA has done things so horribly wrong. Tyrese Halliburton's number 1 because the NBA gave him love. They uplifted him. They put him on the platform, and he delivered. I don't care about the Minnesota Timberwolves, but Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert should be on TV more.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams should be on TV more. We should not be subjected to the Knicks and Bulls on TV because of market size.
I think that one thing when it comes to the NBA kind of picking and choosing, like Trae Young is a great example of this. Like they went all in on that one year where the Hawks went to New York. He gave the bow at Madison Square Garden, and that elevated Trae Young to, in like the fans' eyes, it's like, well, I don't know. Sure, Trae Young he's pretty good still. And so people put Trae Young in the front of their minds. Trae Young is a good player. He is not the guy that should be third in All-Star voting in the Western or Eastern Conference guards. He just shouldn't be. I mean, you take a look at some of these guys that are just below him. Maxey is that guy. And it's kind of stunning that he's not, but Philly fans, they don't care about basketball till later in the year anyway. So that kind of explains that one away. Like Maxey should be up there. Heck, even Donovan Mitchell is playing better than Trae Young is right now. So I understand that the incredible one, Jalen Brunson, is still sitting down there
with the New York market
below those guys with the New York market, and he's sixth in the Western or Eastern Conference in guards with the New York market behind him. It's like, does anybody care about the Knicks right now?
Meanwhile, Boston has 5 players in the top 10 in both.
But Trae Young is as high as he is because most of the people my age, when we think of Trae, we think of Oklahoma Trae, where he was just lighting it up through that entire March Madness.
That's crazy.
Or all of the highlight tape footage. Because like when you watch Trae Young, you're right. He's not better than those guards. But he has a lot of really cool highlight plays. And what do people my age watch now? They go on Twitter and they watch the hoop highlight video.
And that one is to the point of the marketing of the NBA is going awry in that it is wholly highlight driven. It no longer is driven by the game, the way the players play, and help their teams truly impact the game. Like they're going with how many highlight-worthy plays can you have? Like there was a highlight of the Victor Wembanyama dunk where he went up and over the top against Boston. They lost that game by 20. But what was the NBA's response to that? How many impressions they got?
They sent out a NBA Communications PR release of that clip. If it keeps going, is going to be the #1 clip in NBA history. 88.8 million.
Derek White,
where he like finger roll dunks it.
Yeah,
it's a fun play and everything. Social media impressions don't mean anything. The NFL is not out here touting social media impressions. You're touting that because you're getting the crap kicked out of you across everything else. That's why you're touting it. And that's why you've got to pivot. And Will saying his generation, we only do snippets. It's because the NBA is, you're not doing snippets of the NFL.
We do, but
they do.
Yeah.
No,
but with so many games over, and it's something that Major League Baseball could benefit from a little bit more. Their aversion to social media is wild to me.
Yes,
that's why they don't grow.
But it is how a lot of the youth, like, I don't think they could tell you what the standings are, but they're taking in the product, and the NBA has figured out a way to monetize that more than, hey, watch 30 teams over, 82 games for 5.5 months, right? And they found the easier way to monetize.
That's the problem. The easier way is not the sustainable way.
Right. But the popularity of basketball has in the NBA has gone up.
But it hasn't translated. And that I think the biggest part of that is their inability to market and or sell more than just the player at that time.
Yeah.
There's not a long haul strategy that they have invested in. And this is not a now thing. This is a 10, 12 year thing that they have failed to do this. And they have leaned, particularly the LeBron era, where they saw Kobe and they went, oh, we should market players.
Well, the NFL is definitely doing that now more than ever before.
Sure.
Like Tyreek Hill is the prime example of that. Like Tyreek Hill, he and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, those guys, the receivers are the guys that those highlight reels that a lot of
they moved away even from the quarterbacks
are taking in. They are through the short snippet highlights now.
But again, the sustainability of that is not there.
Well,
but how is it not there if the NBA has closed that gap larger and quicker than anybody that we've seen before as far as popularity of the game and being able to increase revenues as much?
As it stands right now with the marketability and the sales side of things, the reason why this stuff is being touted is because they can't sell anything else to the TV companies. The thought right now, the process right now was a year ago that the revenues would triple. They are now at the point of like, maybe they'll double. Like
Well, a lot of that has to do with the regional networks too.
But beyond-
of
beyond
the NBA
that-
teams and the regional sports networks
and a big part of that regional. What is the purpose of the regional?
is for every game to be aired.
But not just that. To drive the story, to drive the narratives, to build teams, to build brands beyond players.
I agree.
They have not found that substitute to do that. They have
leaned
not invested in it.
Too far into the individual, not enough into the team
And
aspect.
now
And I do agree in that that has gotten lost
paying
in the
for it.
sauce. But are they?
Yes.
Though with the record television deal again.
The NBA is not going to. Talking to people that work in that industry who've worked on these deals, they're very confident on the deal that's coming up. And I think Mark Cuban addressed this too the other day. The deal that's coming up, everybody knows is going to be real money,
Absolutely.
but it's going to be, number one, shorter than the last one. It's not going to be a 10-year deal or a 10-year deal or a 7-year deal. It's probably going to be a 5-year deal, give or take. Wavy hands. It's the deal after that, and the amount of things that can change between now and then, both good and bad, has a lot of people scared.
And I think that has more to do with the television industry than it does the actual sport of basketball, because the NFL is king, the NBA is second, college football is third. Like that's the pecking order.
Yeah.
Like as far as the way the TV companies see it, and that's why we're seeing the consolidation in college football, is because the television networks, they're not making money the way they used to. They're having to trim fat left and right.
Otherwise known as the Pac-12 and ACC.
Well, they're not. They don't have the ability. They haven't adjusted at all. Like we're talking about the NBA adjusting. Like the adjustment of television was so slow that they can't even figure out. What platform are we? Are we going to be? Are we all going to go individually, have our own streaming apps, and that's the way that we operate moving forward?
The DTC, the direct to consumer. That's the way the stuff is going. And we just saw ESPN spend a bunch of money on the non-big sports this morning. They just signed a massive deal with the non-football
NCAA championships outside of football. So it's in men's basketball. So it's women's basketball and every other sport.
And it was a truckload of money over a long period of time. Why? Because they wanted to lock in a rate.
Just like the ACC.
So that they can't run away when things change.
Yep.
Because that's the reality of where it's going. Yeah? Yeah? Real serious talk? No? Okay.
That's it.
All right. Coming up next, which team do you have the least faith in going into Week 18? But first, here's Big Will Betts with the Sports Center update. matchups for the playoffs on the line.
But there's so many different ways. We talked about this yesterday that it can break and seeding can happen. Like we discussed this earlier when we were making our picks that the Bills could go either the 2 seed or they could be out of the playoffs completely. Just completely skunked from the playoffs.
Which is such an insane thing to go from 2 to out.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the NFL. Like, and we talk about like why the NFL is king. It's because you can have this drama
on the last week
for
of the
4
season.
months, and every week matters.
Maybe just start every game at the same time.
You can on the.
I
final
want
week.
the shotgun start.
I love that. I think they're getting it completely right, though. That we will know, and I understand what you want because. Like if you play that game and everybody starts at the same time, Buffalo has no idea
What they need to do.
win, lose, or draw. But that game will be at 5:20.
They'll know.
And I hope, it'll be the last game. I hope that
They have to win.
Pittsburgh beats Baltimore, that the Jags beat the Titans, that and what was the other? There's a third game that can bounce them. The Steelers. Oh, and the Colts beat the Texans. So if the
Texans.
it's Colts beat the Texans.
Was it okay?
Yeah. Because Houston will be the 6th seed and Pittsburgh will be the 7th seed in that scenario. So if the Steelers beat the Ravens on Saturday, the Texans beat the Colts on Saturday, then you have 2 of those games already out, and then the pucker factor is already going to start heading into Sunday, right? So on Sunday, if the Jags beat the Titans, all of a sudden Buffalo must win. Buffalo must win that game, or they're on the outside looking in. That to me, that's all you could ask.
Makes for the drama for that one game.
Yeah.
But
if it's shotgun
start, it's drama no matter what.
You get that pucker factor. Maybe if they're the first game off on Saturday, then we get a really good Saturday game. But really with Buffalo this year, they've been such a roller coaster. But so is Miami. Like this game, there's 2 teams that I don't really trust right now because Miami beat Dallas, but
Barely.
they have had some clunkers.
They've lost to everybody else who's relatively good. Also, on the shotgun start, think about this. Just hear me out now.
I'm in.
4x4 box.
I don't know what you mean.
16 games on Red Zone at once.
You wouldn't be able to see any of the plays.
Yeah, just be like little micro
Get a
machines.
bigger screen.
Pay me more money.
So you want every game like I have no need to watch the Browns and the Bengals.
Now you could
It's like kick these out.
Take it off. Make it customizable.
Give me those 4 games that we're talking.
Okay.
Give me a 4 box of Steelers, Ravens, Colts, Texans.
I'm trying to get
Jags,
the sports pants tight.
Titans, and Bills, Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'm in on that.
On a
You give me
shotgun
just
start?
4. Just give me those 4 games.
Just
I'm in.
Red Zone, just rotating between no commercials, any of the games.
Or just give me the witching hour of those 4 games, and I'm in. Like, give me crunch time and let me see how it all breaks.
I love that. But the question is, what team do you have the least faith heading into week?
That has to win to be in, huh?
Bills, Dolphins, Packers, Bears, Colts, Texans. For me, it's the Packers.
Chicago's playing decent football
Better.
right now. They're playing.
I still have no faith in Justin Fields, but I have less faith in the Packers overall.
Really?
Yeah.
They have drafted and developed really well lately.
It feels like they're just missing something.
Their defense.
Yeah.
Their defensive coordinator. I want to see where Green Bay's defensive coordinator is on that coordinator's ranking because nobody likes Joe Barry. Nobody likes Joe Barry at all. It's not as much personnel as it is scheme with Green Bay, even though you do need to shift your personnel. Secondary. Maybe Jair Alexander doesn't go out on the coin toss anymore, which
He's from Charlotte. Don't
that
attack him.
story is hilarious
We talked about that when we
and
were
not
here, I think.
surprising at all.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you know what? I'm going to be a captain today.
Just goes on.
And his reasoning was, I don't
from
think the
here.
coach knew that I was from there, so it's just customary. So I just went out there anyway, and then almost screwed it up. That is brutal.
Logic tracks to me.
Logic tracks. I've been there before where you're at a coin toss and somebody says something, and you look at him, you're like, in the official, every time
They're going to defer to you every time. And
he's like,
you mean defer?
You mean defer? And yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like,
Yeah, you don't want to play
want to kick.
defense.
Are you sure you want to kick? No. Do you want to defer? Yes.
With a strong head nod.
Okay. That was comedy. But then they suspend him
Conduct detrimental.
because there's a lot of other things apparently that's going on with Jair. I get it. They've got personnel in the back end, but it's a coordinator issue. I wouldn't trust them either because you got to have your T's crossed, your I's dotted when you play Justin Fields because he's a freelancer. And if you're not schematically sound, that is where
That's
a guy
where they
like
break
Justin
you.
Fields can kill you. And so I look at that and I go, Green Bay may be that one where you're going, dude, they need a win and they need it in a bad way.
I trust Minshew Magic.
Yeah, but I don't know if I trust the Texans either.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
You have a rookie quarterback
Who's been very good.
Yes, but he's going on the road in a must-win situation
Fair.
with a rookie head coach as well.
Who's been very good.
You have a young core on your defense too. Will Anderson probably going to be the defensive rookie of the year this
Probably.
year, but you're going in there with all of the pieces in a crunch time game
God,
are
they're going to
brand
have
new.
both rookies of the year.
Yeah, probably will.
Straight-
Well, unless Puka Nacua wins
I guess
offensive rookie of the year.
Puka could because Stroud missed a couple games.
Well, and because Puka Nacua
Was
broke
awesome.
records.
Yeah. It was awesome.
I would say record-breaking years
Yeah.
probably something that they will put up a fight over.
Yeah, it's fair. But
Yeah.
quarterbacks,
Yeah. No, but yes, they very easily could have both the rookies of the year.
it's a good draft.
Yeah. Especially when you find teams dumb enough to trade picks and you're like, all right, we'll do it. Looks like they knew what they were
The
doing. when
Texans
they
out-drafted the
tampered with
Seahawks
Caserio.
after the Seahawks had that draft last year. That's the two teams in back-to-back years that have had incredible drafts that have completely reset their franchises.
Scouting matters, man.
Whew.
And top 5 picks matter.
Devin Witherspoon's a Pro Bowler, and JSN's pretty good. I think they're okay with what they got.
The Seahawks?
Oh yeah, I'm not
absolutely.
downplaying that. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
no.
CJ Stroud,
Back-to-back years,
Will Anderson
two
is
teams.
insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Bills Dolphins. Which team do you trust least there? Because this is a hard one because the Dolphins haven't beaten anybody, and the Bills have shown they could beat anyone and lose to anyone. I feel like it's the Dolphins that I trust least, which is insane to me because the Bills are, God, they've been so suspect.
They have been, and their defense has been, the aging defense has been the big question. But I think I trust Buffalo more in this situation just because they've been in these situations more often, right? And because of everything that you just said, where, they have that one win over a team over 500 in the last two seasons, a season and a half. That means something, man. Like they have, against good teams, when the rubber meets the road, they have not met the task. So I will go. I'm with you on that. I think Miami's a team I don't trust as much, but they're at home, and I think that's the fun part about this, is that's the great equalizer, is that they're at home. They're going to be more comfortable, and if this game was in Buffalo, I would wholeheartedly be like, I'm smashing Buffalo in this one. You have a team from Miami having to go on the road
To Buffalo in January?
No, I'm taking the Bills on that 100% of the time. But now it's an even bigger question because it is in Miami. It's Hard Rock Stadium. It's going to be, I think that's going to be, Sunday Night Football is going to be must-watch TV.
Basically, what we're saying here is this is a cluster F,
Damn right.
and there's really nobody you should trust,
Football. They
which
did
is which is great.
Flex scheduling.
Script writers.
Way to go, script
Way to go.
writers. You guys
2024
nailed it again.
script. Fantastic. Hand the Emmy out. All right, when we come back, we'll put a nice little bow on the show. And I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about the worst things we ever did as kids since Tyreek Hill's kid is out here lighting his house on fire. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
We got a list of 23 movies.
Oh, a Jordan
Jordan
list.
year,
What's that?
LeBron year,
23.
23.
Jordan list, LeBron list.
23. We've got 23 movies.
This is like an entire summer's worth.
I know.
We can call it 23 and Me.
Oh, look at that. I love it.
That rhymes better than 23 and a Jackass.
We have 23 comedy
I don't think that
movies
rhymes.
that are classic comedies that Will Ortner has not seen. I mean, this is.
And if you're over the age of 30, prepare yourself.
Oh, actually, 24, because I did not have Young Frankenstein on here.
I think you should just clarify if you are old. Prepare yourself.
Over 30.
Okay, you ready? You ready for the list?
Yep.
These are the list of comedies that Will Ortner has not seen that the listeners have recommended. And I do believe we need to do movies with the fan. And we have to get this going where we bring in listeners, we watch a movie, Will gives a report after saying how he feels. He can be praised, booed, corrected on any of the thoughts that he had, but they are Animal House, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Ace Ventura, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Princess Bride, Caddyshack, Super Troopers, Trading Places, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Big Lebowski, Wayne's World, Airplane, Zoolander, Back to the Future, Half-Baked, Kingpin, Beer Fest, Cheech and Chong, Necessary Roughness, Uncle Buck, Ghostbusters, Weird Science, and Idiocracy.
Ooh.
I'm aware of Idiocracy.
God,
You're
that's a
aware,
good one.
but you haven't seen it.
What plants crave.
I'm
It's what
aware
you
of
need.
most of these movies.
And that's good. That's the that's a good start. But we need to get you to watch these movies and appreciate the greatness of older comedies.
I just want you to know, I have gone to the youth
yeah.
of America
They don't know who Kevin Bacon.
in multiple states.
Yeah, more. Two.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are with me.
Yeah.
They have not seen most of these movies. They have not heard of most of these movies.
Yep.
And so I feel like while I am willing to do this,
Yeah.
you should also all feel old.
I'm only 5 years older than Will, and I've seen 90 of these movies.
Yeah.
Who is that?
That's on the text line.
Well, you haven't seen 90 of those movies
90%,
because there's only
I think.
24.
I think there's 20% is what he, or 90%
Yeah.
of those movies, I think is what he.
My three boys are all under 20, and they have seen most of these movies.
Yeah.
While you force them there, Clockwork Orange.
no, they have
style?
good parents.
That's good parenting.
Yeah.
Well, it's good parenting. Depending on how old they were when they saw Cheech and Chong. I remember first time I saw Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, I was 12. May have been a little
I was
too young.
around the same there.
May have been a little
Like I
too
said,
young.
E.T. the extra testicle was like
Never saw that.
Oh no, that's
You can keep on knocking, but you can't
Come
get in. It's so good. So good. But that is something that we need.
Yeah.
And
You really need the sketch comedies. You need the Monty Pythons, the Cheech and Chongs.
ooh, yeah.
I've watched parts of some Monty Pythons. Like Monty Python, Holy Grail.
have
I
you
saw
seen-
parts of that.
But you haven't seen the whole thing?
Do you know about the rabbit?
The rabbit?
Yeah.
In the no.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember like
We
they
are now
were
up to
pretending to gallop on a horse and the guy in the back
25.
was hitting coconuts.
We have 25. Tisbit of Flesh Wound?
Yeah, no, I'm
Gummy
aware
to
of
death?
that.
Okay, there you go.
I'm aware. He's like
Whoa.
gets shot with a bunch of arrows.
All right. So we need to do this.
Yeah.
These are things that we have to do. I think that a lot of people would appreciate movies with the fan and having the Will Ortner reports because Ortner, you are a content machine. You really are. You're the gift that keeps on giving, and I love you. It's not your fault you haven't seen these movies. It isn't. It isn't.
It's a choice.
If you haven't been exposed